Okay. We're good.
All
All right, here we go. We are ready to rock. Everybody sit back, relax, enjoy. Here is Core in 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to Core. This is Core, talking video games so you can too, I guess, that's our slogan. It's Thursday, June 8th, 2023. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger, and we are at it once again. Now, here we are a week later, and just to let people know, Bo is playing to 100 still. He's still on the trail, okay? So he'll be playing during the show today. If he seems a little out of it when we ask him questions or something, understand the race to 100 waits for no man. And we're here to support him, okay?
He's also been doing this now for over a week.
Right.
Yeah, officially the 1 week has set in, and I'm still not at 100. And I've been playing.
Is there.
I've been playing since wake up to bedtime with as minimal breaks as possible.
Yeah.
I can't quit now because I'm so far, but I want to stop.
Really? I was going to ask. That was actually going to be one of my first things I asked you, but we'll get to that later when we talk about Diablo. But I feel like you're past the point now. You can't just like drop it.
Yeah, I'm level 76. I'm so close to 100, and I've been getting a lot of support and encouragement from people, and I can do it. A week is a long time.
Yeah, and you are essentially doing it solo now because all your other helpers have died. Not in real life. I mean, they're characters.
They're not my helpers, my teammates.
Teammates, sorry.
Yeah, they died. Like the Fellowship of the Ring, one by one, they fell to various things, and I'm now solo.
Yeah, one does not simply walk into.
I think mainly when I asked them to volunteer, and I was like, "Yeah, probably level up in 2 days to 100." Everyone was like, "Sweet, I got the weekend." And then when it started looking like, longer, well, I know one Shinobi, so I'll say who helped me. It was Lockvine. I said it last week. Lockvine, Shinobi, and Ziggurat. Ziggurat didn't even know what we were doing.
Yeah.
Like, he knew it was hardcore, but then we're like, there's a little statue and it's top 100 and we're racing. He's like, why are we skipping the cutscenes? And I'm like, because we're going fast. He's like, for what? Because there's a statue that we want to get a name on. He's like, what statue?
Yeah. He's just there for the good times. He didn't care.
Yeah. It was great. I like playing with him, but yeah, he didn't know. And he played on his own and he got turfed, and that happens.
It happens.
It wasn't on stream?
Oh,
no. It was on his own while I was sleeping. Lockvine he was setting a record. I was so focused on what I was doing, I wasn't super clear, but I think he was trying to play the game for 60 hours straight and set a world record in Guinness for the game.
For how long?
For Diablo 4.
Okay.
For 60 hours. I guess he had some witnesses or something. I'm sure he'll clarify it and write me. I don't remember it because I was focused on Diablo. But once the 60 hours are up, he's like, I got to go to sleep. And I think he yeeted himself in a dungeon. that was how he exited.
Oh.
And finally, Shinobi. It was just me and him, and I'm like, okay, let's push the nightmare levels. And maybe we pushed it a little higher, and it was my call, and I feel bad because we got to what I call the VR chat room in the dungeon. That's this room in the middle of the two sections where a whole bunch of dudes just come and slam themselves on you. And that's what I call it, VR chat, because it's like a VR chat room where everyone's dressed up as like a furry. Anyways, whatever. They fight you, and he died in there, and I escaped. I had a scroll of escape. He triggered his, it's panicky, right? I'm like, we got to get out of here. I'm leaving, and then I scroll of escaped, and he triggered his death potion, but missed his opportunity to escape, and he died. And he says it's not my fault, but I still feel it's my fault for suggesting the harder content.
What level?
And here we are.
What level was he at the point of his death?
60.
Oh gosh, that's gross. As someone who's only 37 and currently working his way through about the middle of Act 4, I wouldn't want to lose my 37. That just sounds awful. That sounds awful. So the only way I would do this is obviously the way you're doing it, right? You got a goal in mind and you're going to go for it. But or I do it later in the long tail of the game when a new challenge is needed and I've done everything and I'm like, well, how about a hardcore? Like those are where that's where my head's at with hardcore. But I really respect this that you're doing. I think it's rad. and I hope you make it. And I don't want any
Trying to get my name on that statue.
Yeah. So what level? What nightmare or not nightmare? But what are they? Torment still? Is that what we're calling them in the new game?
Yeah. Well, no. World Tier 4
World
is
Tier,
Torment.
World Tier, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm on the hardest difficulty level now.
And you seem to be just chewing through shit. Those at home listening in audio only, Bo is playing right now, and we can see him, and he seemed to just be churning through these mobs. It's not much to him.
I've got a strong build, but you never know. One of the worst, I think, way to die right now is inattention or complacency.
Yeah.
You know, they have mortar. Remember mortar from Diablo 3 where you kill them and they blow up?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have that in this game too. I almost went to 10% health this morning standing in one.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, they have a tricky mechanic, and I'm not on hardcore, thank goodness, because I can't tell you how many times I fall for it. There's this type of enemy that shoots fire out in lines around them. And so you're dodging that, but then when they die, they continue to fire the lines for like two blasts, but they also explode in a radius, which is new. And the amount of times that I just think, oh, I'll just keep dodging these lines and stand in the radius and get blown up. Like I've probably died 3 times to that. And it's so annoying because I always forget it. And I always am just like, oh, I just got to dodge these lines. That's all I got to do. And then the damn thing explodes.
Well, the game is good. This particular game, over 3 anyway, is good at like bullet hell elements and stuff, especially in boss fights. And there are some weird patterns and some stuff I have a hard time predicting, even though I've seen it 50 times. In fact, while I was fighting, I don't want to give anything away, but at one point you need to confront Elias. That's all I'll say. But during one of those fights, he's pooping stuff out in a zigzag thing that I could not get my head around. I was like, wait a minute. What did you just do? I'm dead. Okay, I'll come back and check it again. Ooh, that was bad. Let me go back to town and go back down at level or go back down to adventure or whatever mode so I can see this and see if I can figure it out, and then I beat him. But it was really, that stuff's really good. It's actually really good. Like I like the challenge a lot, but it's very different than 3. 3 didn't really have that. 3 was mostly lasers on the ground, some exploding ice, occasionally a big barf or something.
Yeah, those lasers really got nerfed. Because I got to tell you, the enemies that drop the little rotating lasers, I just stand in them. I'm like, this isn't the worst thing I've ever had to deal with. No. This is okay.
Most of the time you
those
do that.
Those used to kill me in 3 really badly.
Yeah.
But,
3 they were horrible. And I guess you could, the more you build up your elemental resist, the easier that stuff is. But in 4, there's some hard shit. And also, I'll say this about bosses just real quick. In 3, they don't reset. So if you're fighting a main sort of bossy type, let's say you're fighting the Butcher in 3, you get him down to a quarter of his life left and you die on a higher level or something. You go out, you respawn, you come right back in, and he's still at a quarter level. This resets the entire, however many phases the fight is. It resets all 4 or 3 of phases or whatever the phases are, and they have full health again. Or even if it's a boss with just health and no phases, they're full health when you walk back in the room. So they're not playing around with that stuff. You can't just go, oh, well, I guess I'll just kind of donkey through this, and if I die, oh, well, I'll just go take him out. Like, there's work involved, especially when it's a long one, and it sucks to die when you've been fighting for a long time. But I don't know, Bo. I'm just glad to hear you're hanging in there and got all your, your fingers left and all that.
Yeah, no, I'm still going strong, and it's okay. It's just a matter of concentrating at this point and keeping up with gear changes.
Do you feel like you're now in a position, because I watch you play on your stream and here even tonight, it seems like you have got a level of precision and dexterity with the game that you might see somebody who plays a lot of League after a long time, or a lot of Heroes, or a lot of, like, I don't know, your muscle memory is clearly like pretty tight on the game already. Do you think that could this be Bo's big esports world first, like, future Diablo's the game, and you're just gonna go on forever and be that guy we all remember as, like, oh, that guy with the Diablo?
No, I mean, there's already people who hit 100, and I've learned from those people. I wouldn't say I'm that guy. Also, there's like a world of games to get to, like one of the Baldur's Gate 3's coming, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I just don't. I realistically, I like Diablo, and I've played a lot of time, but I have a hard time, I think, considering an esport, because you spend a lot of time playing this game when you play it that way, but there's no, I don't know, it can be very like I guess boring is the word. You know, like
Grindy.
it's fun when there's something new and exciting to do, and you've devoted that time. But it'd be like playing like 10,000 turn civilization games. Like after one, you're kind of good. So I'm gonna play this hardcore mode, this race. Then I'm gonna go back and actually enjoy the game and play the campaign. And then I'm gonna take a break and see what the season's like, and maybe come back for the season. You know, I'm looking forward to them enticing me enough to come back.
Right.
And I do plan on it, but you know, I want to get back to War Tales to finish Jedi Survivor, and Everspace is still, you know, gotta play some Everspace. But you know, there's other stuff, and Baldur's Gate's 3 around the corner, and I'm gonna be probably playing that.
Yeah, that's gonna be big.
Also, so I don't think that's a, you know, unless like, I mean, I gotta say, I've received a lot of support on the stream this week, like ever record-setting week for me streaming.
Yep.
For subs and views, and that's been great. But I think that has more to do with the hype of a big Blizzard release than in any long-term, like, I'm one of your Diablo guys you go to. But we'll see.
Could be.
I said I wouldn't compete this week, and here we are. So
that's true.
You can't really depend on everything I say.
Well, I'm impressed with your stick-to-itiveness, and we'll follow it through, see how things go. Real quick before we get to our main story, which will be all about the Summer Game Fest that happened today and some of the games that were talked about. There's also an audio version of just a commentary version of the audio of that from me that I put up today. And then Sunday, I guess I didn't ask John if you got confirmation. Are you good Sunday or no?
I think I should be good. I did forget to double check, but I'm pretty sure
Fair enough.
I should be good.
All
There's
right.
a decent chance that my wife is hearing this, and this is the first she's hearing about it because I forgot. But
yeah, way to ask in front of a bunch of people so that she looks like a jerk if she says no, right?
Oops.
I should be good to join you for that. On
Awesome.
Sunday.
I would love that.
Now, if she says no, you come back to the show and be like, "Sorry, my wife said no. It's her fault."
I'll make up a story. I'll be like, no, I can't.
Well, of course,
the baby said please when I tried to walk away.
Bo, if you're there and but even if you're not 100 yet.
Yeah, I don't want to commit because who knows? I might be playing this for another 10 years, feels like. But if I'm free Sunday, ping me. Okay. I'll ping you. Yeah.
So everybody knows at frogpants.tv, 11 a.m. Mountain Time Sunday, that's when the Microsoft Xbox event that then rolls into... They keep talking about it being kind of separate, so I assume that's how it'll be presented. But you'll get your Xbox event, and then right after that, they do their Starfield special thing, which I'm really excited to see. I'm excited for John to be there to say things about Starfield, because I admittedly have been pretty pro on that game without knowing much about it. And I think John has been maybe even reasonably skeptical about it. So we're going to finally get a big, meaty look at it, I think. That's what they're saying. So
yeah, if they win me over, they won over someone who's skeptical.
That's right.
That will be a good testament.
I agree. So that'll be the plan this weekend. One way or the other, we'll put up video and audio versions of all of that. Although video is maybe tentative just to make sure we're not violating anything. Like the Summer Games Fest thing today, they said you could co-stream. I don't know about Microsoft's event, so we'll find out. I mean, we'll do it anyway. I just don't know if I can keep the videos, all I'm saying. So we'll see one way or the other. Let's talk about Game Fest now. Summer Game Fest, Jeff Keighley's summer kickoff thing, almost like a replacement E3 launching sort of thing happening in early June, happened today. And they showed a bunch of stuff. I'm going to give you a quick overall here. This felt way more commercially than previous years, and maybe they feel that way every time, and I just forget. But this one felt...
I kind of feel like this felt the same. Like, we're going to talk about the games. We're going to be excited for stuff. I don't want to start it off with a big downer, but like, this was so... This doesn't replace E3. There's an excitement around E3 that this does not recapture. This is the most like... What's the word? Like sterile, just like
hospital food.
Yeah. It's like hospital food. You really, maybe you get surprised that the hamburger is better than you expected, but like in general, you kind of know what you're gonna get, it's bogged down by a lot of other things just going on.
Yeah, I think you're probably. Oh, Bo has moved. Bo's getting a coffee or something. Oh no, he's back.
Bo just leaves.
He was literally getting a drink.
I just wanted to pick up my coffee. I left it on the counter over there.
As it turns out, you have to have sustenance while you play Diablo nonstop. You have to
get
actually
thirsty. I drink a lot while I play.
Yeah. How often do you have to?
And water.
I realize we're derailing again, but how often do you have to pee? Is it very often? Do you have to get up and let go?
Usual, man. I pee like 3 times a day, I guess.
Oh, all right.
Did I hear right? You ate cat food?
What?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Hold the phone. What?
Not this week. It was a few weeks ago when my mom moved in.
Oh, okay. It's not related to Diablo.
I thought it was Diablo related. So wait a minute. I still kind of.
The reason he brings it up is because I remembered and told my stream the story, and John was in the stream, and some people were like, "You have to tell that on Core. Why are you telling it here?"
Was it an accident or on purpose?
Yeah.
It was an accident.
It was an accident because my mom and her cat live with me now. So she has
Bo's like sweet free treats,
and she's been really nice. Like there's treats and there's things around. So I'm feeling snacky. I come into the kitchen, and I know there's a bag of nuts or something, like some mixed trail mix or something. And I'm looking around and I see a bag and I open it up and it's a Ziploc bag. I'll put my hand in and toss like a whole handful of freaking kibbles and bits in my mouth and start chewing. And I'm like, what is this? My soul was crying inside. I'm like, this tastes terrible. And then I look again and I'm like, oh shit, it's cat food. Oh no.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
That's why you gotta read them labels there.
I spit it out. It's not good, dude. It's terrible.
So you're not gonna recommend us eat cat food then?
No. I mean, I guess if I was starving, it is edible, and I think I could eat it in a starving scenario, but
wow.
Out from that, no, don't do it.
Well, let's talk first then.
How do we recover?
I don't know even how you transition from that. That's amazing. Let's talk about the Prince of Persia bit. Now, I came in late. I was super busy today, and I came in about 15 minutes late or 10 minutes late and came right in during the MK1 stuff. So, John, did you see the Prince of Persia stuff? And
I did.
What'd you
think? Prince of Persia, it's a series that has some really great moments, some really high highs and some really low lows. And it's not exactly a brand that you hear, a Prince of Persia game, and you think, oh, fantastic. I'm so excited for that. But it is a side-scrolling, like, action adventure type game. And I think this game actually looks incredibly rad. I was surprised, Prince of Persia, whatever. And it starts going, and I was just like, why aren't more people doing this with video games? Is how this made me feel. Like, everybody seems to be chasing this, like, you gotta have the most stunning, real-looking graphics and the biggest, like, we're gonna be the biggest narrative action adventure. This was just like, hey, remember what's great about video games? This is what's great about video games, and we're gonna do it, and it's gonna look cool, and it's probably gonna play cool. I hope it looks like it does.
I think it looks rad. I've only seen the trailer right before the show, and then I'm watching it again now. I think it looks rad, and you're right about the stylistic choices here. They could have gone like, I don't know, Assassin's Creed realism or something. And instead they went with like very stylized, almost Phoenix Rising kind of style instead.
Yeah.
Which I think works really well here. So, yeah, it's not what I expected, but I think it's what I want. Versus like, I don't want another, like, I'm sure they've struggled with this there because they've canceled multiple Prince of Persia follow-ups. And I'll bet they always bang up against, well, we're just making, Assassin's Creed a Persian game. Yeah. Like, we're just doing that again because that's where this all started anyway. The devs for Prince of Persia Sands of Time were like, hey, we got this idea. It's called Assassin's Creed. It's going to be awesome. And sure enough, it was a huge cash cow for them. But for them to go back to that franchise, it's a little like, well, wait, we're kind of already doing that. We just didn't use the name. So let's do something more grounded in where the game came from. Go with a 2.5D kind of vibe. I think it looks rad. So there's that. I agree. That one looks good. What'd you think of the so they showed off Mortal Kombat 1 gameplay, and they showed a bunch of fights, some little snippets of story, not a lot, but a little, and they had Ed Boon come out.
Just a dude. Some guy came out.
Some guy. Never heard of him before. Ed Boon came out and described a little bit what was going on, especially the cameo system, which I thought was going to be more involved than just occasionally Sonya Blade will fly in and kick and then fly out again. I don't know why I thought there'd be more than than that.
I thought maybe they were going to go the route of like, tag, and this was going to be like their take on Tekken Tag Tournament, but I kind of see what they're going with here. They've kind of dabbled with these sorts of ideas in a lot of these. They had the form of where you could pick multiple variations of the same character. Like here's Kano, but he focuses on laser powers, and here's Kano, but he focuses on knives. Now it's more like you pick your character, and like the way you customize and tweak them is by picking your cameo, which gives you access to other abilities to call in. And I think that's actually pretty cool. Like I think that's all right. It looks like it's going to be pretty like deep the way you actually utilize it, because on some of these it looked like the cameo character was getting involved in the X-ray attacks, and in one case it looked like the cameo character actually did a fatality. So I don't know. We don't know for sure, but judging from the gameplay trailer, it looks like they're going to lean into it in a lot of ways. And it's also a cool way to bring in like the classic variations of these characters, which I'm be honest, I've found out that I am a sucker for palette swap ninjas.
Yeah.
Because if you say, John, what is the best version of these characters? It's like the Mortal Kombat 2 ninjas are the best, where it's literally the same model, just different colors. And I'm like, those are the best costumes.
Yeah, I do like them.
But later they added personality and flair. I'm like, who cares? Same costume, different color is best version of the character.
I kind of agree with that. That's funny. No one's ever asked me that question, but if I had to say it, I think the MK2 guys are my favorite. All the ninjas.
Yeah, and it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
So it's a neat way to have those things in there. We did get to see like the classic Sub-Zero fatality, which is why I think cameo characters might be able to do fatalities too. And that's kind of an interesting concept. Like, hey, I picked, to play as Scorpion, but I can also do a Sub-Zero fatality on top of it. Like, those are some kind of neat twists too. But I think this game looks beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
It's shocking how much better this looks than even the last game, which looked pretty darn good too.
Yeah, that's a beautiful game. But this
they did
is
something
next
to
level.
it aesthetically. I think it felt more vibrant in a good way.
Color wise, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's way less washed out, and yeah,
it's still violent, but it's just it was definitely felt washed out, and it definitely didn't jive. I think with Mortal Kombat, like when you think of, I don't know, it just looked a lot better. Even Johnny Cage felt more Johnny Cage. I don't know.
Oh, and they confirmed Jean-Claude Van Damme will be voicing Johnny Cage. So that's kind of funny.
That version of Johnny Cage, I believe.
Oh yeah, this world.
Johnny Cage talks in the trailer, and that is not Jean-Claude.
No,
Van Damme,
no. You're right. Because this is it's a multi-dimensional, multi-universe kind of concept anyway, so they can kind of get away with a bunch of weird stuff. But look at this. There's Stryker. Oh, he just ran out of frame. Stryker, baby.
Yes, Stryker's in as a cameo. It looks like, which great. That's probably where Stryker belongs, as not on the main roster, but as a backup character.
Yep.
Probably where he needs to be.
Totally agree.
And, it looks bloody and it looks crazy and over the top and everything that Mortal Kombat needs to be. And they have found a way to keep the story going with the characters that you care about. Because, Lord knows they eventually, over the course of Mortal Kombat, introduced a lot of characters that I saw somebody on Twitter, because every now and then I'd see Mortal Kombat trending and check it out. And somebody had like a list, and they're like, this is a list of the characters that have not appeared in a Mortal Kombat game since Armageddon. Who do you want to see? And I looked at the list and was like, none of them. Like every character I like is in the game. Yeah. I don't need any of these people back.
Yeah.
They've done a fine job on bringing back who they need to. So, I'm stoked for it. I'm really excited. They're doing the story mode again. Story mode looks crazy. They're doing weird reimaginings. I guess Sub-Zero and Scorpion are brothers.
Yeah,
now.
brothers.
Cool.
What the frick? That's crazy, right? Like that. What does that even mean? I don't even know how to take that. They're such rivals.
They're redoing story as well, eh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
apparently, when Liu Kang reset the universe, he's like, I'm gonna mess with all these people's lives in a big way.
Yeah, because also like Raiden's in the game.
Yeah.
Young man Raiden.
Just the Kid Thunder.
Yeah, Kid
which
Thunder.
I thought was a great way to bring him back. Actually, I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Kid Thunder's still my favorite friendship they ever made. I love Kid Thunder. It's so dumb.
Yeah, they've kind of done it because he's young. So I'm gonna call him Kid Thunder for as long as I can.
Do it till the game comes out, and even then,
And
maybe
Tyler,
past it.
you tell me if that's what they call him internally, because it is too obvious and too good to not do it.
I agree. I really, really like everything I saw, so I don't have much bad to say here. It looks like MK1 is another rad project coming out of those guys, and it'll be great to see it. Path of Exile 2. I have to say something about this. This was the most non-anything of anything they showed today. And listen, I know some of you are gonna say, Path people are gonna say, well, it's because you're playing Diablo, dude. The reason they showed this is because we're all playing Diablo. I guarantee that's what this stunt was, because do you know what they showed? They showed a character walk into a room in a cave, kill about 15 things, and then rolled to the logo. It was a big bag of nothing. Like, that bugged the shit out of me. I thought, oh, no, this is good. In the hype of Diablo, bring out Path of Exile 2.0, and let's see what you got going. They spent 15 seconds showing us nothing. That was a nothing burger. I hate that term, but that's what that was.
I kind of liked the trailer. Like, it was a nothing burger when you compare it to Blizzard trailers, but I kind of liked it.
It's just, but what'd you get? Like, you got nothing. You got
I was just seeing the abilities, and like she does a little jump when she shoots her thing. Yeah. I think they went for that vibe because they clearly don't have the marketing budget that Blizzard does, right? Yeah. So why try? They'd have, if they did an animation, I bet you it'd be not good.
I just was hoping for something more, like show me, I don't know, an extended gameplay, or show me. More than that was just like a weird clip from a YouTube.
There was
video.
A date. It said like July 28th. They're gonna have more. So I don't know. Maybe it was just a little appetizer.
Yeah,
but you're right. Yeah, I mean, I can hardly think of a better trailer than the Diablo 4 trailer. That was almost a movie. You know what I mean? Like it was a short film, really.
Yeah. Not only that, the Blizzard seems to be just pulling out all the stops. In fact, every day I'm like, all right, what weird Diablo crossover is today? You see KFC stuff every day. You see what's her name from the first Transformers
Megan Fox
movie.
is getting in on the Diablo.
Yeah, Megan Fox doing the whole show us your deaths or whatever. It's like, Megan Fox, what? Who hit? Whatever. And then they set all those fires in Canada so they'd have all the smoke in New York to have that huge stat. Just kidding, they didn't really do that, but it looks like they did.
I got to tell you about that, by the way. You know how you were complaining about smoke in Salt Lake City when the forest fires?
Yeah.
I had that all week this week.
Yeah, it's bad.
Smoke out. You can't go outside. You can't breathe outside. Like, it's crazy.
It's a good week for
you
you to play Diablo.
You picked a good time to just be playing Diablo.
Yeah. It smelled like charred wood, like everywhere. I thought the house was on fire, and then I looked at the news and like, nope, smog.
That
Bo's like, what's going on? Is the house burning down?
Yeah,
on the news,
I was up.
Holy hell!
I was up playing till 3 a.m, so I'm like, I better go see if there's a house on fire and someone's sleeping. So I walk outside and I'm looking for the house where the fire is, and didn't find it. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. And New York right now looks like a hellscape, and they've got this big Diablo Lilith poster on Times Square, and everyone's just like,
it's just Canadian forest fire. Yeah. I mean, it's terrible.
Yeah,
we really should.
It happens.
Not have those.
We have those here, so we're sort of used to it out west, but I think the east is like, what the frick is this?
Our poor ozone there doesn't like it too much. Let's just try not to do it.
It's like if you're like, hey, I haven't seen this, how bad does it look? Go watch Blade Runner 2049 and skip to the scene where he visits Vegas to find Harrison Ford's character.
It does look like that. A lot, yeah.
Crazy. Anyway, Path of Exile 2, still a thing. It's coming. I'm actually excited about it. I just thought it was a weird reveal. It was just like, what? What are you showing us? It's like nothing.
Yeah,
here.
I mean, I agree. Because that wasn't exciting.
Yeah, it just left me kind of going.
I did enjoy it.
Witchfire. That looked like. Well, one thing we didn't put in our notes is right before Witchfire, they ran a Witcher season 3 promo for Netflix, and then they showed. I
wonder why that didn't end up in the notes. And then weird that got left out.
Well, the reason I mentioned that is it felt weird to follow it up immediately with what looked like kind of a Witcher first-person shooter Witcher ripoff in a weird way. Not a ripoff, but you know what I mean. It was like, hey, guy goes kills creatures. He's a Witcher. He's a witch things. I don't know. It was just
I got just to talk about the thing I didn't put in the notes so we wouldn't talk about it. It's so weird that they're just like, hey guys, it's Henry Cavill from the Witcher series. And it's like, not anymore.
Well,
like we already all know he's leaving. You already announced who's replacing him. And it just feels weird. You watch the trailer and he's like, I won't abandon Siri. And you're like, well, actually
you're going to.
you are, because we're getting a Hemsworth in here next season. So,
yeah,
you know,
it's a little weird.
It's one of those things, you know, when people talk about like, oh, I can't watch that anymore because it just makes me think about the thing. Usually it's for something really terrible. In this case, I can't see Witcher stuff and not think just like, yeah, that's falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
you know, like it's not going great for them.
Yeah.
But Witchfire looks kind of interesting. Like again, there's not a ton here, but I'm excited about any first person shooter that doesn't look like every first person shooter that's out right now.
Yeah, I agree.
And this definitely looked different in a compelling way, like, you know, using giant blunderbusses and bits of magic and, you know, kind of this early age weaponry. And who knows if it's gonna be good or not, but I thought it actually did look kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's got some good devs on it. I don't know how I feel about the FOV, the POV, the point of view camera stuff. It looks a little fisheye to me, but maybe that's just for effect for the trailer. I don't know. I have some questions about that one, but that's the thing.
Sometimes they'll let you change that.
Yeah, and that may be a thing in there. They showed a little more of Remnant 2. Not much to say there, except I didn't know that game was co-op, and that looks co-op as hell. And the first game wasn't.
I didn't know much about Remnant 1, but people are excited about this. I never played it. I never really heard anyone talk about it. And I'm excited about Remnant 2 because I think they were out there saying some stuff about how everybody's single player experience is going to have a lot of unique to it. Like they're kind of leaning into that RNG aspect of the world and storytelling.
Sure.
And people got really excited about it, and it made me kind of say, like, is the first Remnant game good? Like, I never heard anyone talk about it. Now all of a sudden, not only is there a sequel, but people seem hyped about it.
People that played Remnant 1, I think, loved Remnant 1. I remember a lot of positive talk about it, but it was also kind of I don't know. It's, you know, people. I knew it was a Souls-like in some way. I think I even own it. I just haven't played it. But
I'm in the same boat. I own it and I haven't played it. So
Yeah.
Is that a multiplayer game though?
The new one is. The old one's not.
I think the old.
Okay.
The old one didn't have.
Not?
The old one did not have co-op that I know of. Well, now I say that and I'm not sure. Actually,
You didn't play it though.
Yeah, I didn't
Like
play
I
it. So
said
good
it,
point.
And then
I thought
said it, and it didn't seem true.
I thought I saw gameplay and it was always ever one dude, but that doesn't mean anything. Could just be solo play. I was
Let
saying,
me
so it's
see.
possible.
I'm gonna check it out right now. 'cause
Yeah,
it's
check that out
in
and see.
my library.
But this one clearly is. There's all kinds of people running around in here.
Online co-op.
Really? More than one person, or more than two, rather, is what I meant to say.
I mean,
Yeah, I
more
thought
than
it
one. It
told-
just says online co-op. That's
Okay.
what I got right
It
now.
might just be
I
one
think-
and one.
I thought maybe I could say I'm just worried I'm going to say it wrong
Looks like
information.
up
I
to
thought it was,
3-person co-op.
Yeah, I thought it was an online like a Left 4 Dead style, but you're hunting a monster.
Maybe it got
Like-
harder the more that joined. You might be
I heard
right.
there was a really nasty spider in that game.
Oh, your favorite.
One of the bosses was
Should get that in VR. Get that
yeah,
going.
exactly.
Yeah, so 3-person co-op. We're gonna be talking about that again soon.
The one that,
That's what it was.
yeah, we are for sure. The one that really took me off guard that I didn't think I was going to give two shits about was Sonic Superstars. I kind of really like this look of this thing. And maybe it's because they teased me with this side over here is 16-bit. This side over here is a modern looking game. And now we're going to let you play that. I kind of had the feeling that maybe you could do one or the other, like switch between them. But I think that may have just been the effect of like, hey, remember this? Well, now it's this. But this looks good.
I don't know. There's a weird tease at the end where they do the 16-bit look again, and it made me kind of think the same thing. And they do play with some styles. Like in the trailer, there's some spots where he looks all cubed out, like almost like an 8-bit character.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I do love the look of this game. I think it looks really neat,
Yep.
and it seems to be getting back to, you know, if you like Sonic the Hedgehog, like this is what you like from Sonic the Hedgehog.
It was maybe one of the louder audience reactions. People got real excited in there about this at the live show. I don't know. I think it looks cool. I don't know if I'm just in the mood right now for a platformer, but I might actually get this one. Although no Steam, it's Epic exclusive for a while if you're looking for PC, but all the consoles are getting it, including the Switch. And there's multiplayer co-op in it as well, and that is online as well as couch. So something to look forward to. And Dr. Mean Bean Dick Machine, or whatever his name is, he'll be in there as well.
Yep.
Is it Mean Bean Dick Machine? I'm sure I've nailed that.
Nope, it's Dr. Robotnik or Dr. Eggman.
That's right. That's the one.
Call him
got two
Mean Green
names.
Dick Machine?
Yeah, Mean Dick Machine. Yeah, you know.
There was a video game called Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Bean
That
Machine.
is a real game.
Yeah, that was basically Poyo, but with Dr. Robotnik beans.
Scott is not inventing this out of thin air.
No.
Like, there is some
Poyo,
truth to what
Poyo.
he's saying, but yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played that recently. Anyway, then we got this weird thing called Lies of P. It sounds weird because it is. It's a little bit of a weird title, but it looks.
My urine lied to me.
My urine.
Sounds like a story about urea being in Coke.
Oh, there's a character, by the way, in Diablo whose name is awful close to urine. And when there's this whole sequence in Act 2, I think it is,
Oh, yeah.
and you're looking for urine, and the guy's walking around going, urine! I can't find urine! He just keeps yelling it, and I'm like, dude, you've got a pee problem. You got a pee fetish. Anyway, this looks interesting. It's like set in France, and like weird France, like France.
Weird France.
Well, like
Weird
stereotypic kind of steampunky carnival
Like alternate
France.
history kind of thing.
Yeah.
So this game, like, this is kind of what you were saying about Sonic, but this is kind of where I was for this, where it was like they come out and they say, hey, it's a Souls-like game
Yeah.
based on Pinocchio.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
And then the trailer played and I was like, this actually kind of looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to like it, but every time I look at it, I'm like, this looks really cool. Now a lot is going to depend on how it plays. You know, is it good? You know, is somebody going to talk and I'm just going to be like, well, this sounds cringy and bad. Like it could all fall apart, but from a pure like visual aesthetic, I love what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't help it. I'm not even a big Pinocchio fan. Like the world thinks we are because they put out like 100 Pinocchio movies recently, but this kind of looks cool.
Yeah, looks all right. And you'll know pretty soon, September is when that comes out, and that will come to, let's see, everything.
I think there's a demo out now, so
Oh, you're right.
probably find a way to find out if I like it.
Oh,
from a
PlayStation.
gameplay perspective.
That looks like a PlayStation exclusive, actually. You may only get that on your PlayStation now.
Oh, it's in the public domain now.
Oh, what is?
That's why everybody's doing Pinocchio.
Oh, it is?
Okay.
That explains it. I thought, well, wasn't it always, though? Pinocchio was never owned by Disney. Disney never owned it. They just did their own take on it, kind of like Snow White. You can go do your own Snow White, I think. Or any of those things. Even like Little Mermaid, you can go make your own. That's like an ancient Dutch thing, as far as I know.
I don't know.
Anyway, some expert will correct us or tell me that I'm right. I don't know which.
Can't wait till
Yeah,
we can make our own.
it's muddy.
Transformers.
I would just assume Disney's gonna sue you one way or another.
It's a
Just,
fair
you know,
fair way to live, honestly. All right, now we're going to talk about one that I thought of John immediately. It's a game called Sandland.
I wonder why.
John loves deserts and dirt. He loves a good desert. No, you hate them, and so I thought, oh crap, this is a weird two-pronged sword because on the one hand, big time desert. All right, Chaldean levels
It's
of desert.
literally called Sandland.
Yeah, the land of sand.
That's the name of the game.
Yes,
Sandland?
the
Yeah.
game is called Sandland.
And it's the artist, creator / dude known for all the Dragon, not Lance,
Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest games. He's your
Oh, so it's like a JRPG.
It's Akira Toriyama who did Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z,
yeah, all that stuff.
the Dragon Quest games, Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
It's
Everyone's
his
least
art style,
Yeah.
and I love his art a
Yeah.
ton.
Yeah.
So it is something I love in something I hate. But here's the thing. I think at the end of the day, his art style wins because I'm totally intrigued by this.
Yeah, I kind of am too, but I can't tell what kind of game it is. Do you think this is an RPG or like a action adventure story? I can't tell.
I have no idea. Every now and then they get in these awesome Metal Slug looking tanks.
Yeah,
and are
those
just
cool.
tooling around. I mean, that's one thing. Like, I know you aren't the biggest fan of his style, but I would bet that when you see his version of mechs and tanks and stuff like that, his mechanical stuff, I would think you would like that.
Well, I can tell you that I've always liked the what do you call him again? Not Dragonlance. What's wrong with me?
Dragon Quest.
Jeez. I really like all of the Dragon Quest games, how they look, and I really like the newest one a lot. So the art style sometimes for me just depends on what I'm watching. When I watch Dragon Ball, I'm watching the dumbest thing ever made. So that's the only reason I struggle there is because I associate that look immediately with like Goku getting super, whatever the hell happened in that weird thing, beating up a lizard on a hill, whatever they did in that show. I couldn't stand that show. I know a lot of people love it. Just save your hate for other important things in life. But
I think it's important to acknowledge things you like that may not actually be very good. I love Dragon Ball Z. I fully acknowledge it's not the best show in the world.
Right. And that's, yes.
Doesn't mean I don't love it.
Right.
It's just not very good.
I get you. That's where I'm at with it. And I think he's great. So seeing this got me all excited because I really liked Dragon Quest 8 and 8. Or the most recent one, 11? 11. I think that game's great. I need to get back and finish it, but I think that game's awesome. And I'm excited to see whatever the heck that is. Throne and Liberty, It looked like, actually at first I went, wait, is this Final Fantasy 16? Because if it is, this is low rent. What are they doing? This is like a bad version of what I thought I'd seen already with Final Fantasy 16. And no, it's some other thing. And I'm not that excited about it. But it looks fine. It looks nice. Any thoughts on this one? Don't care?
No.
Me neither.
We'll see. Anytime it's an MMO, it's a we'll see. Like as soon as you say we're doing a new MMO, it's like, okay, well, we'll wait and see.
How about Alan Wake? You like him? Or
I am excited about Alan Wake too, because I think Pacific Northwest horror is just a good thing.
I agree. I don't even like Alan Wake 1 that much, but I like its setting a lot. And I'm excited to see where this goes. I will say this. Somebody in our chat room made me laugh. Whoever you are out there, I want to thank them again because I noticed that every time they show actual Alan Wake, he looked like John Wick, sitting there with his mustache and his beard, and he's just looking, like John Wick now in these flashbacks or these flash forwards or however they're doing it. And someone in our chat called him Alan Wick, and that made me laugh. So thank you, Alan Wick guy in our chat. Anyway, it looks good. It looks a lot like Alan Wake, though. I mean, beautiful, obviously. This is.
What if they give him kung fu powers like the Baba Yaga himself? Will you still like? Will you think that would jump the shark? Because it's
I think
video game. He's got to fight some people.
I think it'd be all right. My biggest problem with this trailer is there's some serious jump scare moments, and I don't think I can play this. I don't think I can do it. That was really
gotcha.
Bad. Yeah, this one with
I guess that just means somebody's gonna buy it for you, and I'm gonna watch you play it. Or
this deer that goes trekking through the house in that one part of the trailer effed me up pretty good, and then the wall exploded, and out came some Resident Evil 7 looking bullshit. I don't think I can do it unless someone buys it, and then I'll do it. I mean, I don't even want you to buy it for me. I'm just saying it's the only way I do it. It's the only way I feel compelled is if someone makes me do it by paying for it. What else? Oh, let's get to this one. Space Marine 2, 3-person co-op. Perfect for us. Count on some core content from Space Marine. We're already fans.
I mean, that was the big exciting announcement for me was, because I know this is a game that's exciting for all three of us. And it's like, well, it's co-op, who's going to play it with who. But to find out, like, oh no, all three of us could play it together. It's kind of a perfect core game.
Yep.
As a result. And once again, just to continue to beat this drum, even though I know it makes Bo feel a little sad inside, immediately saw it and went, boy, I wish this is what Darktide was.
Okay. That doesn't make me sad.
No. I mean, it's funny that it's in the same universe, right? And that I don't know. It's like which of the looter shooter? Well, I guess it's not really a looter shooter. It's more of a story and a campaign and stuff. But which of the shooting 40K games do you want to play? And right now this is it. Like I really want to play this bad. I'd love that first game.
Got added to Darktide though. Maybe give it a year.
Yeah, I think dark and industrial.
Oh yeah.
They had a bunch of.
Oh yeah, we went over this. It's an aesthetic thing for you. You don't want to play a reject.
No, he wants a blue suit of armor. That's what he wants.
Yeah, I want a bright blue suit. I want to feel like a badass. I want to not be smacking a zombie with a shovel. I want to fight cool things in interesting environments, which is exactly what this trailer is. I'll just point it out. This trailer shows a lot of different cool-looking environments, including some dark industrial ones that better than anything in Darktide, and fighting a bunch of enemies that look a lot cooler than anything you fight in Darktide. So I'm really excited. I don't want to take Darktide. It feels mean at this point, but just like this is when we would play Vermintide and we would go, man, can you imagine if they did a 40K game in this sort of universe? This is what I picture. And so there was a lot of expectation not delivered, and a big part of that is on me. And now other games are coming out that are more adjacent, and I'm excited.
Now, the next game I want to talk about is one where I don't know if you guys ever watch something and realize the only reason the name that's attached to this is because they get money for that attachment.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
I think that is 100% true here.
I else? Think you are completely wrong.
Let me say this. I like John Carpenter. He's a big gamer.
Let's say the name of the game first, then we'll have our debate.
All right. John Carpenter's Toxic Commando is the name of the game. And it looks like a zombie shooter with a bunch of tough guys in a truck and some ladies, and they all get out and shoot zombies. I don't know how much.
Toxic Avenger in it?
No, I wish. That'd be great. I don't think he has the rights to that. But it is John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. Now, John is absolutely correct to point out that John Carpenter is a huge gamer. He loves it all. He was talking very recently about how much he loved the remake of Dead Space and was super glad they did it and loved playing through it again. And I would argue that probably Dead Space of all the horror games is the most thing-like any video game has been. So he probably appreciates it on that level as well, being the director of The Thing. Here's the deal. Or not The Thing, just Thing. Wait, no, is it The Thing? Whatever.
John Carpenter's
Here's The Thing.
The Thing, yeah. Okay.
Here's John Carpenter's The Thing.
Here's John Carpenter's The Thing. John Carpenter's Toxic Commando looks like shit to me, and I don't know why this would be any good. This looks like just mowing down zombies. Left 4 Dead did this, a million other games since. I'm getting Redfall 2 vibes out of this. I don't think this is very cool looking at all. I think that especially,
yeah, is that what we're doing? This game gave me Redfall vibes.
It gave me Redfall vibes. I won't lie. I mean, I know they're not vampires.
Like every game that looks mid and underbaked, and be like, oh, it's a Redfall vibe game.
I sort of see where Scott's coming from, but this looks infinitely more interesting than Redfall.
Well, maybe. I mean, what do they do though? They just shoot at zombies and they have a truck.
Yeah, but not too long ago, we were all getting excited about that because we were like, geez, it's been forever since they made a Left 4 Dead game, and then somebody else made it, and everyone went, oh, that's not the game I wanted.
Well, they put trading cards. They put the TCG in back.
Yeah, I know, and that's why, maybe this is the answer to that.
Maybe. You might be right. We may get to it and go, have you played John Carpenter's Toxic Commando?
I'm not saying it is. Before everybody's like, John said that game was going to be awesome. I'm with you. I got zombie fatigue. The fact that vehicles play a prevalent role is maybe slightly compelling, more compelling than running around on foot, at least. I'm not saying this game's going to be great, but it's just, Scott's setting the bar real low with Redfall. And I just want to at least say I think it looked better than that.
All right, fair enough. You know what? You're probably right. I can't tell enough about it because I actually thought Redfall looked cool before we got it. I thought Redfall looked rad, so I was dead wrong. John Carpenter
is just a filmmaker, right? He never wrote any stories as well.
Well, he wrote. Yeah, I mean, he wrote not only stories, he wrote music. He wrote Halloween. He wrote.
It's not a Clive Barker deal because usually when it's Clive Barker, it's because Clive Barker wrote something and they made a movie.
Oh, see, that's my question, and that's why I said at the beginning. I feel like his name is on this for money and not because he made it. or wrote it.
But maybe he wrote a short story called Toxic Survivors or something.
Toxic Commando, maybe.
Survivors.
Toxic Survivors.
John Carpenter's Toxic Survivors or something.
I want to know how that goes. The survivors are the toxic ones.
Well, I mean, what was it called? Toxic
Commandos. Or just Commando.
And it is the most like aliens, like oorah, like go get him, brother, kind of guys you've
I'd
ever
like to
seen
think he at least wrote them a treatment, like, you know, like J.R. Martin did something on Elden Ring. He didn't. Even he says he didn't do a whole lot.
I'm sorry, did you say J.R. Martin? Is that the name?
G.R.R. Martin or whatever it is.
See, I know it's a short-lived experiment, but having Bo trying to survive in Diablo and talk is my favorite.
You got 40% in my brain. 40%.
I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, I got a quick beef about something that isn't even bolded here, but I got to bring it up. There's a game coming out called Pal World.
I did kind of want to talk about this, but I thought this might go long, which it is.
It is, but
let's talk about
Pal World?
So Pal World is this. It's Pokemon with guns, literally. Now, what I don't understand is I feel like these look way too much like actual Pokemon. I don't know how they're getting away with this.
They are very close in some cases. They're very close to Pokemon.
Yeah, this one with the dinosaur-looking one shooting missiles, that looks just like, I don't know their names. I can never remember Pokemon names, but I know enough to know what looks like one. And there's like a fat Pikachu and a Charizard-looking things. I mean, it's just
you know, if you're
blatant.
gonna do a not Pokemon, like, go for it. Like, that always bugged me about, so when WoW added Pokemon through pet battles, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're gonna put in pet battles. It's gonna be like Pokemon, but then you're out there catching a deer. And you kind of realize, like, oh, Pokemon need to be like more than just animals. Like, you can't just go out and be like, I caught a crocodile and a brown rabbit. Like, that's not exciting. Like, it has to be like a Smilodile. Like, it has to have a weird personality and be quirky. And
it's gotta be a Crocodick.
Yeah, Crocodick. Exactly.
Crocodick.
I don't want to know what that evolves into or morphs into. I'm going to jump ahead to Wayfinder. I kind of liked how this looked, I have to admit. It looks like another shooter. Like,
well, it's got what's his name's art behind it.
Yeah, it's Madura, like, Joe Madura.
That will get you a nice big bump.
Yeah,
for sure.
It helps me as well. I'm a big fan of the other games he's been involved in, and this looks like this could be very cool. The art style is really neat. The biggest problem is maybe this whole event kind of had this problem. It feels like they're all doing the same thing. Like, every game is like, hey, look, it's four. Here's a tanky dude. Here's a guy with a sniper weapon. Here's a lady with a couple of knives. Let's go play video games. Like, I feel like there was a lot of that at this event, and it kind of bled together, you know, a little bit.
Well, and I'll say, and I don't blame them for doing this, because what else are you going to do? But the fact that the event was like, here's a world premiere trailer for something that supposedly nobody has seen. Then here's an ad for DoorDash. Now here's a mobile game. Now here's some DLC. Like, it made it hard to be excited about everything. Like, Wayfinder, I didn't bold it because it was mixed in with like new seasons of Fortnite and all of this stuff. And I was like, wait a minute, what was that? What do we know what that game is? And like, it stood out visually because of the art behind it, but I have no idea what that game is.
No, I still don't really know.
It's got a kind of generic name like Wayfinder, and it kind of just got lost in the sea of, you know, like, here's an indie game, here's DLC, here's a new season, here's an ad, you know, like, it just was bizarre.
You think they show too much stuff back to back? Like, they should maybe do a little bit more ceremony for everything?
Well, yeah, but I think, I could be wrong, but I think the business of Summer Game Fest is let's get as much as we can, and that's how we make our money. Let's just keep pushing through this.
Yeah, it feels too full as a result. Like, it needs to be spread out a little bit more. Like, I was excited about a lot of things they showed, but I was getting fatigued by the end. I mean, if you look at our show notes, Almost everything up front is bolded. Almost everything at the end is not. And I think that's because my attention span fell off by the end. And it just was, it's too much. It was hard to differentiate what was important versus what wasn't. And that probably works to some people that are paying to be up there's credit. But as a viewer, I was just like it was a boring event for sure. Like there were some cool trailers, but I feel like you would get more out of this event by just looking up the trailers piecemeal after the fact than watching the event live.
I tend to agree. I also think that I think a few people were waiting for that weird kid to show up again since he was at the last thing. And even Keeley, after the event, put something up on Twitter. He said, good news, nobody was arrested at this year's Game Fest or something like that. But I kind of wish that weird kid would have shown up just to make it weird. Because nothing weird happened. It was all a little too safe. Like, we didn't even talk about Nick Cage coming out and talking to, hey, fellow gamers. Like,
I mean, Nicolas Cage was great. He was like kind of awkward, but kind of the best part of it because it was the one thing that didn't feel just like, here's a very basic introduction. Video game trailer.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he used the term game space maybe 4 times too many. Or well, now that I'm in the game space, and I'm like, oh shit, don't say that anymore. Don't quit saying that. Anyway, I just looked at the video for Fae Farm again. I'm still sort of wanting to play that. I'll let you know.
Okay, yeah.
I'll let you know on that. Let's talk quickly here. The heartbreaker for Bo and maybe for all of us, and why for me even. You might even ask, why do I care? You'll find out later in what I played. But for now, let's at least mention that the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth thing happened.
Yeah.
Well, 2 things happened. That happened. That's a good thing. I'm excited about that. They didn't break my heart other than the delay. I don't want to wait another year. The thing that broke my heart was the mobile freaking remake of the actual turn-based RPG. The original Final Fantasy VII.
It's the whole... What? There's a mobile remake of the...
Yeah, I don't think it's a remake. Like there were characters in there that are not in the original.
Well, that was hard. It was hard to tell. It did look kind of like here's everybody, all your favorites. So maybe that's the case. But I saw a chunk of it with Cloud running around with Barrett and everybody doing their thing, and it looked so good because what they didn't do, Bo, was like they didn't make everything realistic like they do with the Rebirth and remake. They made them just look like cool little Chibli looking versions of what they were back on the PlayStation.
Like Doom Eternal, Mighty Doom sort of treatment?
A little bit, but in this case, it looked like maybe what they were aiming for. At least at first, when I first saw it, I went, oh my gosh, they're going to do a remake of that game, but in this style. That's amazing, and it's not going to compete with their big 3D thing because that thing's a whole other thing. So this can be this own thing. I was so excited. And again, when I talk later about what I played, I'll tell you why I'm excited, because normally I wouldn't give 2 shits. But then it turned out it was some multiplayer, some microtransaction filled nightmare, and I don't want anything to do with it. So that made me sad. I was a little sad about that. But I am excited about Rebirth. It looked really good. Lots of and running around and big fat swords, and it's more of that. Oh, and they do that thing Bo was always blown away about when you said you were back in 98 or 97 when you played the original. You were like, you couldn't believe when you finally left Midgar how it opened up. Like the world just was so much more than you thought, right? And
I felt like to me, it feels like you're kind of in the middle or the third act, and then you realize you just did the first 10% of the game. It's crazy. It's a cool feeling. Only game to really ever do that to me.
Agree. So, this looks neat. It looks good.
Yeah, and so there's a lot more color this time around. We're not in a cyberpunk dystopia of Midgar. It's actually like trees and beautiful landscapes, and it's also the part of the story where the characters start to really get to know each other and become deep friends. And I'm just watching that trailer, and my eyes are tearing up. Literally, I didn't quite cry, but I felt like I wanted to watching it.
Yeah, I thought of you.
They've done a really good job of that remake, yeah.
Are you ready for 2025? Wait, 2024.
I'm not ready. Aerith is. We still don't know the Aerith's fate, man. It's gonna break me.
They could change it. They could mess with it. I mean, it poses a really weird question at the end that I don't remember 7 playing with that much. where the trailer literally ends with Sephiroth, and it's a trailer. You don't know if this is exactly how the scene's going to play out, but it alludes to the fact he says that I killed her. So who is that? Implying Tifa.
Yeah.
And 7 doesn't get into that, but that is an interesting question because that scene is in 7. There is a scene where you're like, well, Tifa just died. How's she in this game? And they don't really do anything with it. They're just sort of like, she's okay. And that's it. And with this game being different but familiar, like the fact that they're gonna do like deep dives on interesting things like that, like I'm just so curious about it.
You know what I would here? Let me tell you what I would do, John. This may sound crazy to you, given our history with Final Fantasy and our beefs and all that. Mm-hmm. If Yoshi P got out there and said, like, let's say at this fest that's coming up in Vegas, he gets up on stage and goes, we're making a new MMO. And everyone will go, what? Brr? It will be a sister MMO to Final Fantasy XIV. And it's all set in the future steampunk world of 7. I would shit myself and could not wait to play.
Yeah.
That's how differently I feel about this world. It's not even so much the games they're set in, so much as the world versus the world of like the fantasy world I don't care as much about. I would do that in a freaking heartbeat. And that would all I could talk about was playing that. So
see, I actually think 14 is set more in what you're talking about than you realize. But
well, I know they have bits and pieces of all of this, but I want like this. Like I want Barrett gun on my arm. I want big fat ass swords like that. I guess you can have that in there, but I want like this setting. You know, future in the same world, even whatever. I don't even know if it's supposed to be. Is it? Is this supposed to be the future of the fantasy world? Or do we know?
No, they're not connected.
They're not at all. Like everyone's still
always a random.
No, this isn't like Legend of Zelda. Like here's a weird tinfoil hat on how they all connect. They are all different worlds.
So okay, so
that's why it's hilarious that they're numbered too, because they're not a sequence of anything.
So if
they have crossed over. Final Fantasy 15 characters did canonically show up in Final Fantasy 14.
Right.
But it was a completely different world. It wasn't like, oh, we went back in time or we didn't. They drove their car through a portal to a different universe.
So these universes all use Gil for money, right?
Most of the time, yeah.
Ah, Gil, you did it again, Gil.
Ah, Gil, cheese, you're crazy.
Such greatest Simpsons ancillary character of all time, possibly. He's so good. All right. Well, that's basically it. That's the rundown. There was a lot, and some was better than others. You can go watch the entirety of that thing, or the commentary version I put up, or the audio version I put up. However, whatever your flavor is, go check it out and see what you think of all of this stuff, and send us your feedback about what you thought about this year's Summerfest thing deal. All right? All right. Hey, it's time for a Patreon email. Message, rather. This is from Omega 9, and since Bo's in Diablo right now, this is perfect. He says, since Diablo 4 is doing it and it worked on me, how do you feel about companies releasing a game and then charging extra to play it a few days early? Seems like every company's doing it now. Well, my answer to Omega 9 would be, until we stop paying for that privilege, then no, it will continue to happen and they will do it more.
In the big scheme of things that bug me with the way we monetize video games, this is pretty low for me. Like it doesn't bug me. I usually think it's pretty cool that you get to do it. It tends to kind of slow the mass flow into games, which most of them are always online server-based experiences anyway. So I tend to think it's okay. Now, if the game is down for big chunks of that early release window, like if Diablo 4's launch had been a nightmare, you paid for early access and then couldn't play the game, that would be bad.
Right. That would be bad.
You know, that's its own problem. I don't really have any... I don't have any dislike for this trend. Like, if you're excited enough to pay for it, like, you know, barring a very competitive game and, you know, even then, if you're going to get in on the competition, like Bo's in on the competition for this race to be in the top 1,000. I don't think you can really be like, well, I want to be highly competitive, but I'm not going to spend the money to be competitive. Like, you just can't be that person. You know what I mean? So, I think it's fine. This doesn't particularly
It's also
bother me.
not unique to video games at all. It's when's the last time you waited for a flight and you heard the lady go, "We'd like to welcome our Trusted Plus members first on the plane. Come on, get in." They pay for that privilege to get into the plane early.
Snack line at theaters.
Snack line at theaters. Very good point. Any of that stuff, those sorts of things have been going on since time in memoriam. But now, video games are adopting a lot of these things, and we all think they're new. They're not. They're just it's how you get people to pay early or pay you more. And I don't think, unless you have you may have an intrinsic problem across the board with that sort of thing. Well, then that's different, and you probably spend your whole day complaining. I'm not saying that's you, Omega 9. I'm just saying, good luck if that's if you don't want that from any part of human life. But I don't think it's any bigger of a problem here than it is getting on your plane early.
I don't think a lot of games do that. Like free-to-play games sometimes do that. But how many games really charge extra?
Early access? I mean...
get in a few days early. Like I just don't think I've seen examples of it too many times.
Diablo didn't even really...
this is kind of a dumb thing, but the thing that always made me really like it and do it, and I'm sure companies do it intentionally, but so often it's, well, if you get in early, you get it before the weekend.
Right.
And if you don't get in early, you get it on a Tuesday. You're like, well, I would love to be playing it this weekend, so I want to get in. But that doesn't change the fact that that is how I want to play it. I want to play it for that weekend. I can't tell you how many video game releases come like the weekend or the week after a 3-day weekend. I think, why couldn't they put this game out a week early?
Yeah.
I would have had a 3-day weekend to play it. Wouldn't have had to ask for special time off work or anything like that. So I don't know. I just don't think it's particularly egregious.
Well, also, if you paid early to get into Diablo, or you paid the amount to get in early for Diablo, you also got other stuff with that level, right? Like, it wasn't just that.
Yeah, it wasn't just that.
Games tend to do more than just give you early access to something. They'll give you something else in addition to that. Whereas other parts of life, every time I go past the TSA, speaking of flying again, I go past the TSA, they have that like express lane at the TSA where you pay more money to go through that line and you don't have your shoes checked. Like it's just a whole different experience. Fast passes at Disneyland, same thing. It's just, people do, that's what you do. You pay for the convenience, you pay for the getting something early or whatever it may be. And I think this is just gaming's version of that. But Bo's right. It's not even that prominent or common. I think in fact, I feel like it's kind of exclusive to maybe even just Blizzard and companies like them.
Yeah, I've noticed that on a few games. I think it tends to be online, mostly online exclusive experiences. It's pretty rare that like a solo single player game that you're just going to go home and play by yourself is, oh, you'll get it early. Like, it usually has some server element to it, and I think that there are benefits to doing it.
The downside is, like you said, you mentioned it, but if nothing works, if servers break, that's a whole different animal. That sucks. Like, if you got early access to the game when Diablo 3 launched and you were getting Air 37 for a week, I mean, people were pissed. That was bad.
Yeah, I mean, the servers have gone down 4 or 5 times during my playtime.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I haven't died due to disconnects. I don't know how I've dodged it so much.
There are a few people who have done that. In fact, I believe the world first 2-100 hardcore died from a
disconnect. Yeah, he already got it, but he lost his character nonetheless after that. And then I think they're letting him roll it back. I don't know who told me that, but I wonder if they are. If you can appeal that and say it's not my fault your servers went down, and if you can confirm it wasn't your ISP.
I don't think that's going to happen to everyone, though. They're not going to.
Probably not, yeah.
That's a lot of people, maybe because he has connections or something. I don't know.
It's a tricky thing because, it sucks. And obviously there's going to be a lot of attention when someone who's, prominent from what they accomplished and they're like, oh, they lost their character. How'd they lose their character? Oh, the server disconnected. Like, that's lame. You want You want to see a glorious death. You want to see the butcher surprise them and, kill them or something like that, or they did something stupid. You don't want to see it from a disconnect. At the same time, the whole point of hardcore is that, choices matter. And if they remove your character the second, the internet goes away, then people start cheesing it, which also sucks, because then it's like, well, does this mean anything if you can just cheese it? So it's a tricky proposition on which one you go with. I don't know where I land. I hate the idea of like, oh, I made a mistake, I'll just unplug my router. But also it's just lame to see like, oh, did you hear the world first 100 character died? And you go, oh, what got him?
Yeah.
The server died. You're like, oh, that sucks. That's dumb.
Does that guy have video? It's probably got video. I'd love to see that. I don't want to wallow in his pain, but I want to see.
Maybe. Yeah. I haven't seen it.
I mean, we're all. I mean, I would be at this stage where Bo's at now. Like when you were at 30 or something, we'd have gotten over it. But if you died now, between now and 100, if you die, I would.
It can happen, man. We gotta get used to the idea. It could totally happen.
I would feel so bad.
It's gonna be the last minute I'm playing.
How important are pots, by the way? I'm not noticing that you're filling up there.
They're critical because they give 5% XP boost, and they do protect, including Elixir of Death Evasion, which makes you immune to death for 2 seconds when you hit 1 or 0 HP.
Yeah, you just have to be quick with the heal.
They're not super important, but they help end game. There's some uses for it. They can boost your resistances in certain ways that are good insurance for me.
Man, even your screen right now is affected by the smoke in Canada. Look at that. Not you, but
I did a nightmare dungeon where they boosted the damage of ice, and I was getting instantly exploded by creatures that did ice damage, and I did not have a potion to protect against ice, and went, I bet this is where those potions would have come in real handy.
Yeah, I think if you're leveling through the campaign, you probably not need to worry about it too much, but end game, we're gonna need those potions. There's a lot to
I mean, it's important, I think, to just get every tactical edge you can in survival.
Yeah.
Personally.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I got my horse, so I'm very happy about that. That horse.
Oh, yay. Yeah. Yep, the horse rules. It changes the game entirely because now you don't have to accept every side quest and go, oh my god, I gotta walk all the way over there. Now you can hoof it.
Yeah. They make you wait a long time. That thing's gated behind a quest. NPC quest and a level. So it's like you have to get to that level and do the quest. So if you've been busy doing side quests and you haven't gotten around to it and you've over leveled, the world scales with you, but you still got to do that quest to get it and talk to the guy that plays Lord Walker Cho. Same actor. Not Lorath. Who's the guy? His son died. Oh, it's a spoiler. I shouldn't have said that. Somebody's son dies.
That's not Lore Walker Cho.
Yeah, it is.
That does his voice?
Yeah,
no.
That's totally him.
He's in this game all over the place.
I don't know what happened because I've skipped every cinematic, so I have no idea
name?
What the story
is. It Jim Cummings?
Hold on.
His name?
Let me pull it up.
I mean, I know the last level's awesome.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet. I guess, John, you saw it because you beat the story. Yeah. We'll get to that.
Yeah. We'll get to it for sure.
Here we go. Voice cast.
It has an epic final act.
Okay, the guy I'm thinking of is... It's not in this list. Why? Is it Prava? No, that's a lady.
No, it's Donan. I'm looking it up right
Donan,
now.
that's it.
James Good.
Yeah, James Good.
Which is not Lore Walker Cho.
I think it is.
Hold on. Now we gotta look this up.
Come with me, hero, and I'll tell you a story. I'm almost sure it's maybe not Lore Walker Cho, maybe the other maybe
the other panda.
What's the other one?
Hold on, let me see.
Yeah, Chen Stormstout. Maybe that's who I'm thinking of. I find it. It's gonna piss me off.
Looking, I've got his IMDb up. I'm looking for some World of Warcraft business, and I'm not finding it yet. So hold on.
Okay. James.
I do not see him doing any voices for World of Warcraft or
Really?
Heroes of the Storm.
Really?
For that matter. Yes.
Well,
however,
his voice is. I just assumed it was him then because he sounds. I mean, it was never confirmed, so yeah, I'm only going off what I heard in my own ears, and I guess I'm wrong.
Let me see. Let's see who does Lore Walker Cho's voice.
Because
it's Jim Cummings. That's what I said, and he is all over this video game. There's a snake cult in this video game.
Yeah.
And they got Jim Cummings to do the voice of like every member of the snake cult. I don't know why, but like he's every single one of them. But he's Lore Walker Cho.
Okay, this Monkey King thing I have. Let me play this real quick.
Monkey fur.
No, that's not it. 1 second.
What?
Monkey virus? No.
The green monkey virus.
No. Where is the Monkey King blew him away?
Oh,
You
I know
sure?
what you're talking about.
You sure that's not Donan?
Yeah, that's not Donan.
Damn it. All right. I can't find that clip.
You're someone else's
Although
enjoyment. Don't you
I
think?
am looking at Jim Cummings' IMDb and Diablo 4 not listed, but I guarantee you he's.
Well, Diablo 4 is currently not complete, like the listing on IMDb, and I cannot figure out why. With the mega marketing that is happening with Diablo, and it's insane. When I say this is the most marketed video game I've ever witnessed in my adult life.
They're on Hot Ones.
It's insane to me.
Like the Hot Ones episode is like, here's your Diablo. People are eating hot food moment of the minute.
They're
like,
everywhere, all the time, and yet their IMDb's not filled out for the game. It doesn't make any sense to me. Who's in charge over there? Get that shit going.
You know what's kind of funny about? Oh shit! I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind.
I believe it was going to be great though, so we will wait for that to come back to you, and then
Damn it! That's so annoying.
we'll do it again. Don't worry. Well, speaking of Diablo and all that, we got to do this. Let's talk about the games we played this week, and in one case, still playing. Diablo 4, of course, our big shared game of the week. There's one thing I wanted to mention real quick, just to get it out of my head. But I played Act 3 almost entirely on my Steam Deck, whereas everything else so far has been all on my PC. But I had some time where I just wasn't here, and I had to do it some way or another. I
remember what I wanted to say.
Oh, do it now. I'll hold off.
Diablo 4 related. Don't you think Donan has a funny name because it's like Donan the Barbarian, like Conan, like
Yeah, but
Donan the Dardarian? That's what we were calling
But
him.
what is he? He's not a barbarian though. He's like a
No, he's not. But it's Conan, but with a D. Like they went Conan, but let's add +1 to the letter for D.
Sure.
So it would actually be Donan the Carnarian.
I'm very glad you remembered it. I am super.
But
glad.
yeah, no, that's it's just Donan's a weird name, right? Even for a fantasy.
Well, I
name.
think it's called. I think they say Donan.
I don't know. It's not any weirder than Elias.
Oh yeah.
I got really distracted by all the Elias talk.
There's a lot of Elias going on.
I
But-
did not think that guy's name was Elias. It was shocking to learn it. And then the more they said his name, I was like, dude, his name is Elias.
He is also busy doing what I call a demonic road trip with his girlfriend, mom. The entire game.
Hold on.
The
because
whole
I
time-
wasn't gonna give up who Elias was. You're.
Oh
gonna
no!
say.
People know he's the intro cinematic guy. That's not a secret, is it? Is that supposed to be a secret?
I don't know. I don't know what people consider.
No, I
spoilers.
thought that was.
I would say
Sometimes I'm like,
expect
I was playing Diablo 4, and they're like, spoilers. I don't know if.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I should be careful around this stuff, but I think that's knowledge. But the guy that's like, you came here for knowledge, and there's no light here, and that guy, he's your guy.
You guys actually know more about the story than I did because I skipped all the cutscenes.
Which is amazing, and I love it, by the way, because you.
So
yeah.
okay, Bo, do you consider it a spoiler to know that man's name is a lie?
No, I fought him. I know he's in the game.
All right, yeah, he's cool, but it feels like those two are on a road trip, like a buddy cop movie. It's weird. Anyway, the thing I wanted to say outside of that, I was going to say the Steam Deck version runs. It's not even a version. You have to sort of do a little hackery. It's not major. Takes 5 minutes, but it runs so well. It's so great. I love being able to go back and forth. So my Steam Deck has been my Diablo 4 machine all week, and it's been great. The other thing I wanted to say was just a shout out to the art team on this game and its art direction in general. Some really cool details I noticed. As a necromancer, I'm exploding a lot of corpses and laying down curses and all this stuff. Big upside down stars on the ground looking like doom symbols and all that. And when you do that, it's in blood. And when you do that in the northern areas, up in the snowy areas and some of the stuff in the central part of the map, it's just fine. It looks like blood, and it eventually goes away. The exploded corpses, however, it stays for quite a while. Those smears are just out there on the hard ground. When I go into Chaldeum or any of the sandy areas with sand in it, places John loves with all the sand,
Sandland.
Sandland, when I do those same abilities, the sun is so hot that the blood immediately starts to congeal, change color, turn black, and disappear. It is so cool that they even cared to make a difference in the climate difference of that part of the zone versus up north where it's colder. And they do this kind of thing a lot in the game, and I just want to say out loud how much I appreciate that stuff. I just think it is so cool.
There's a lot of really nice visual touches to this game, and I will say this, like, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of the muted color palette. I still am not. I don't like it. But, this is a big but, this game is like shockingly good looking with its diversity and environment.
Yeah.
Like so we make jokes that I hate deserts, but I think the thing that is really refreshing is that yes, this game has a desert section in it, but that desert section isn't just sand dunes. In fact, when I got to sand dunes, I was like, oh my gosh, sand dunes. Like, it's oases and it's vegetation and rivers and lakes and rocks, and it's not just like a desert. It's not like I went to Tatooine and then I went to Hoth and then I went to Endor. It's not like you get one biome per area. Like, there is a gradient to it as you move from one to another, and it doesn't have that World of Warcraft like you've hit the line where we've gone from fall to winter. Like, it has this nice flow to it, and it feels connected while still feeling different. And I think that is that's incredible. It makes the world feel really big and really cool.
Yep.
So,
Did you guys find, speaking of desert, did you find the Sarlacc pit?
No.
there's a Sarlacc pit.
What?
There's, in the middle of the desert, there's just a big hole, Sarlacc pit. No, not part of the main campaign, not part of a side quest that I've seen. There's just a Sarlacc pit just hanging. Like, when you say detailed, there's like, just like everywhere you go, there's just stuff to look at and be like, why did they put this here? And what's this? And I'm like, I don't know that it's a Sarlacc pit, but it's a big gaping mouth with thousands of teeth in the desert.
Yeah, they are 100% repping. I'm
no
looking
need
at
to
video
do
now.
that. Like, if you're looking at your work production pipeline, do we have time, sir, to make a high detail Sarlacc pit in the middle of the desert? No, we have to ship this game by May 10th. All we had was a trailer. When we made the thing, we got to get it out. Don't
Yeah.
make a Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
And Blizzard's like, we're making the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, look at
And,
that thing. Why
yeah.
wouldn't you?
I mean,
Oh
it could
my
be
gosh.
future content, but I was impressed. I'm like, there's so many things where I'm like, they just made a detailed, really nice thing to enrich how the world works.
Yeah.
And it's just that, and like, I don't feel like there's like, it's because they ran out of time and didn't put a story in the game or something, and so that's why you have those assets. It just looks like it's meant to build lore in the world, and I really appreciate this. But the map is amazing.
It's incredible. It's really
Yeah.
something. And that's really all I'd have to add this week to what I played of it, because I'm just working my way through the story. I don't want to spoil any actual story points. It's really good. John, finish the story, so I'm anxious to hear what you think of how it all summed up. But I really think this is like just a great dark fantasy thing. I, for one, love the dark palette. I love the color, the muted colors. I like the way this game looks in every way. And I can't find a problem with Diablo 4. It's really hard for me to find a problem with it. It is so damn polished and so fun to play. It addresses everything that I want in a game like this, and it does it with gusto, and I'm completely blown away by it. So, yeah, Diablo 4, Game of the Year, probably.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Might be early, but we'll see. Right now I'm feeling it. We'll see how time goes. John, let's talk about your experience. So I'm about 37. You're at 54. Finished the main quest. What'd you think of all that?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit last week. Bo had alluded to some fear or anxiety that maybe the story didn't completely wrap up by the end of it.
Yeah.
And I said, oh boy, that's going to really upset me if that's the case. And I'm happy to say that that's not really the case, although there is elements to it. The story that is presented in Diablo 4 is a complete story. I would say I do have a criticism. I don't think the game is perfect. I think that the game leaves a little too much meat on the bone as far as story. And in fact, if you listen to the bonus core podcast, you can hear me talk about what I mean without getting into spoilers on that, because I do talk about it. I think the story suffers a little bit from what I call like the MCUification of narrative, which is it's not really about the story we're telling, it's about the story we're building to. And a lot of things are guilty of that these days, where it's like, hey, like, this is just a stepping stone on the story we want to tell. Like whether that's the Power Rangers movie teasing the Green Ranger at the
You're
end.
talking about like getting a case of MCU-itis.
Yeah, like it's that allure of like, boy, can't wait till this happens. Or we've talked about it with the World of Warcraft movie. Everybody wanted to see the Arthas story. It's not a logical starting point, but it's the thing that people wanted to see. And so if they build towards it now, World of Warcraft doesn't do this. They don't end with like a wink and a nod where like after the credits, they're like, we'll call him Arthas. And then like, okay, we're leaving the theater. They're going to do Arthas next time.
Yeah.
And then they never do it. Like, but in general, that sort of storytelling it can be a little dangerous. Now, they've said they're doing 2 expansions for Diablo 4. That's the plan. So having more meat on the bone to tell with the story is a good thing if they do it. And I think it is a fair criticism to say if they do it,
right.
Diablo 3 was supposed to have 2 expansions. Overwatch 2 was supposed to have PvE content.
It was supposed to have a sequel.
Like you have to
sequel, yeah.
You have to judge things on what they are. And while yes, we're going to probably, and if I was going to bet money, we're going to get more Diablo 4 and a lot of this stuff is going to come back and pay off in a big way. That would be where I would bet, but you have to judge it on what it is. And I will say that while I like what they tied up and that they told a complete story, I came in with a lot of questions like, I wonder what we're going to see with this. And I wonder what this is going to be. And it didn't really touch on any of it. It does its own thing, which is good to a world building lore thing. But think of how long we went between Diablo 3 and Diablo 4. And if we have to wait that long again to continue a story, like that's too long.
It's 11, 12 years almost, 11 years, whatever it is.
Really excited to see what comes next, but to keep it positive, I really liked that they told this story, and the story was cool, and it built an interesting world that I want to see more stories out of, which is not something that always happened with Diablo. Like Diablo doesn't have a feel of the world in the same way that World of Warcraft does, you know? It's just sort of like a place where things happen.
It's getting closer,
started
though.
That world building for me.
Yeah, same. This place is starting to feel like a place of note and not just the backdrop of gameplay.
Yeah. Another thing I thought was really cool from a storytelling aspect, the side quests in this game are really good.
Yeah, they're
not
great.
all of them, but a lot of them are really interesting and really cool. Did you guys know that you get to go to the place that's in the opening cinematic?
Yeah, you get to go there.
There is a tale around that entire event if you do the proper side quest. Like that's a side quest. If you're a fan of Heroes of the Storm and maybe a particular Diablo character that appears in Heroes of the Storm, there is an entire storyline involving either that character or at least their namesake in this game as a side quest. Like the side quests are really interesting and really compelling and worth checking out and doing. So I always think that's cool. I love when side quests aren't just, hey, we're hungry, go kill some boars. Did you beat? Great, you got beat for me.
There's some cool stuff too. I don't know if you were watching on my stream, John, but I found, in Act 2, the camp when you do the adventure journal or adventure mode, that desert camp, that's in the game too.
Yeah, I saw
the exact same. The overlooking of Chaldean.
Yeah, it's all beat to shit. I'm looking at it right now on video, and it's beat to hell.
Yeah, but it's just cool because you have the exact same view, like the proportions, it feels like I'm back in the exact same place. It's the only place where I'm like, I recognize exactly where this is, and it was just a great moment.
What
You're
they call
like,
it, hidden camp,
I know
hidden
this
camp,
place,
right? I think it was called hidden camp.
And I
Whatever it is.
think
Yep.
that like in a world where, you know, sometimes things get too self-referential, I'm probably glad that this game decided to do its own thing more than the wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like, hey, remember this? Remember this? But there were certainly some things that I was like, you could have probably told me a little more about this. You probably could have explained this a little bit more. Which maybe we'll get, and they've built a compelling start to that story, so I'm excited for what it could be.
I
I
mean, they
was
could do a
definitely
whole.
excited when, yes, we started to go to places that I had seen before, but I'm also glad that the game wasn't nothing but like, well, back in Tristram again.
Yep.
And we built it a third time.
Well, it's
so
one of the things that
They
took
did it
me.
a good way, because I want to tell you one other thing. One of the have you seen, the followers in Diablo 3?
Right.
Yeah, one of them is in this game.
Oh, which one is it? Is it?
I
Please
don't know.
tell
I
me it's
don't
the
want to spoil
Templar.
things too much, but one of them
don't
is in this
spoil it, don't
game.
spoil it. Yeah.
But
Look at that creature
I,
over there. It better be him. It's
and
gotta be
I
him.
would watch a whole. I would play a whole game just like catching up with what they've done, or watch a whole movie about the last 20 years. Because they were all they were barely anything, but they were very memorable.
Yeah.
And maybe not I think the wizard was at least
Jondar.
memorable.
Jondar. Oh
But
my gosh.
Glorious and the Scoundrel were definitely very memorable.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just made me realize like this is a world like 20 some years later. Like there's so much there's so many little characters and nods and references that we geek out on, that they really can just do full missions about. Like there's not a lot of. I think that's the only example that jumped out. I'm interested to hear what John said. I skipped through things so fast I might have done the quest and not even noticed.
Right.
But yeah, damn man, I can't wait to play the game.
Yeah, it's awesome. It is something you had to kind of get used to with this game versus previous Diablo games. From 1 all the way through 3, it was always this like, you're in a new act because you're in a new camp. And the new camp is your hub for everything you're going to do until that act ends, and then you're going to get in a boat and go to another act, and now you're in this new place. And this does not do that at all. I mean, there's still some linearity to the thing, but this is a world full of many, many, many camps. And there's no one that you're like, well, that's the one. Like you may think that in the first 10, 20 minutes of the game.
Yeah, although I do tend to default to the first one.
I go there a lot too.
Probably because it's the one I've spent the most time with.
Yeah. Plus, they have all services there, and they have you can change the world setting and all that crap.
I think there's like 3 or 4 that have all services at them. But yeah, it's probably my favorite because I'm just the most familiar with it. Although I found myself going to the one that's in like the swamp area a lot, but I think that's just because I've been playing down there a bunch.
Right.
I think it's 5. There's 5 like cap cities.
5 capitals, yeah.
Yeah.
The capitals you can kind of do everything in, and I kind of just default to that first one, I think, out of just maybe familiarity. But I mean, there's some really cool stuff in here, and again, the storytelling is really good. I know as I talk about Diablo's story, and I'm like, the ending, I had a few problems with the ending, not quite being as fulfilling as I wished it was. People are like, what are you doing looking for story in Diablo? And honestly, I think this game has a really good story. There's a character in this story, and it's pretty early on, so I think, God, I know you've seen it. It might have even been in the beta, so Bo, you might have actually seen this too. There's a character that's really tragic that's just like a guard. Like he's a guard that makes a bad decision, and like he has this really compelling, interesting story that's like one of the most interesting little tales in the game, and it's just a side character as part of the main story quest. And I was like, this is really good. And I think people that just go like, oh, who cares about story in Diablo anyway, are underselling it. Like there are some really cool stories in this universe and in this world. So I don't think it's ridiculous to hold them to a high narrative standard.
Yeah, I agree. I get it though. Like worried that they aren't going to, you want to make sure there's follow through or a history of follow through. And because they canceled that one expansion for 3 and things got weird with that, like there's this feeling like, don't screw this up. But man, they have done so much here and invested so much here. I can't see them blowing that part of it. Like, I
mean, like, that's the thing is, like, it's so hard to talk around. At one point, we'll just do a spoiler cast or something on it where we can, like, once Bo beats it, maybe, and you've beaten it, like, we can talk about it. But, like, it feels weird to be like, is it a spoiler to talk about something that's not in the game? And the answer is yes. But, like, to me, there's a pretty glaring omission from the story that I'm like, I always wondered how it would feel, and it's just not there. And it does kind of bum me out, but could be there in follow-up projects. Like the door is open for it.
I know. We don't know how Imperius is doing. I know it bothers me too.
Yeah. You know what? That was the number one thing. I had somebody when I talked about like, hey, I didn't necessarily love the narrative. The first question somebody asked me was, did they talk about Imperius at all in the game?
Yeah.
And so Imperius is on a lot of people's minds. I was looking for kind of 3 characters. I wanted to know what was going on with Tyrael. I wanted to know what was going on with Imperius. And I know what's going on with Deckard Cain, but I wanted to be wrong and have him be in the game anyway.
There's no open questions about Deckard Cain. They died. They burned his body. He's gone.
Yeah, but he's got an essence like everything else. You put it in a stone.
Yeah, but he wrote like 100 books. Like I should have a book. It should talk to me. He should have come back as the angel of knowledge or something.
If Jurassic Park can find a way to bring dinosaurs back, then they can bring Deckard Cain back. Here's the thing with Deckard Cain. I got legit, maybe you remember this, John. I got legit freaked out when at one point a kind of funny character that you run across says...
Who is a returning character too.
Yes, he is. And he said something to the effect of, oh, Deckard Cain's just in there. He's inside doing something. And for a hot second, I went, like, he's good. Is he in there?
I was so happy. I was so excited. I was like, are we really going to do this?
Yeah. Well, no, not the drug guy. Well, is he a drug guy? He's just kind of out of it.
I don't remember. I barely paid attention to the story.
It's a really great moment, though.
Mistaken.
It's really great.
Deckard gets talked about a lot, mostly by one character in particular, and I felt like he was me. I felt like I was that character because all he wanted to do was talk about Deckard Cain.
Yeah, it's
like, oh, they put me in the game.
Yeah, it's it was false hope because I was just thinking, oh, maybe something will turn into something out of this, and it never panned out the way I thought. But okay, I mean, look, the game could go a bunch of crazy places. I'm very excited for what that means. They've said 2 expansions, plus they've got content that will roll out anyway with seasons and other things. Like, I just think it's just a great place for the game to be. It doesn't feel like they're going, oh, I don't know if we should have done this real money auction house. Oh shit, we're gonna have to go back and redo the way loot worked. Like they're not in that position.
Yeah, they are in a better spot than they were.
Way better spot than they were. Yeah. And it's also the fastest selling game in Blizzard history. It will be one of the best selling games of the year, period, across the industry. Like they're doing great.
Yeah, I mean, I want more of it because it is a very, very good game. There were times where I felt like, wow, this story's moving around at a clip. And then there were other times, mostly near the end, where I was like, there should have been 4 or 5 moments like this throughout the game. And it's kind of weird that we haven't had anything like this until the very end.
Yeah.
I think the game has a like kind of slow build to an amazingly epic piece. And then I went, well, I kind of see this story going for another 40 to 80 hours or ending, and then the game ends. So that's the only place I'm at. I feel like the game ends a little too early for me. It tells the story that it wants to tell. It's not like it ends on a cliffhanger or anything like that. It's just I think what it sets up is maybe more interesting than what it tells over the course of its journey.
Yeah.
Maybe the best is just to come, you know?
Yeah. I think
sure, which if they do it is great, but if they don't do it,
all the answers to those questions are coming, you know, like it's just, you know, because this really seems like Lilith's story. And not that we're spoiling anything, but it's Lilith's story. But if they have 2 more expansions and it's a game as a service, my expectations are low about them canceling it or not, like for the reasons we've had on the show, and
Sure.
But my expectations, if it does get released, are very high as to how cool what's coming. Because there's, like you said, there feels unfinished, especially for a Diablo game. So that good shit better be on the way.
John, since you've done the
I'm
whole,
gonna be mad for 10 more years.
right? John, you've done the whole story. Did you ever have a quest where you had to go seek out and find Asmodan's nipple rings? Did that ever come down?
No, but I will say, and so when we were coming up on this game coming out, I said, I feel like this game is embarrassed about Diablo 3. And I don't necessarily think I was wrong about that, but it does have more references and allusions to Diablo 3 than I expected. It's still not a lot. It still doesn't really want to talk about Diablo 3 all that much. It would much rather talk about Diablo 2. But there are a few, but there was a moment where they're like, I'm pretty sure they're going to try and summon one of the lesser evils. Is it going to be? And they named all of them. And I was like, well, it's not going to be any of the ones from Diablo 3. I can guarantee you that, because this game, there's no way it's bringing in Asmodan or anything like that, even though deep down that's what I wanted.
Right.
Like when Asmodan got named, I was like, I hope it's Asmodan.
I love
I
Asmodan.
want Asmodan to come back and hang out. But I was like, of course it wasn't Asmodan.
Yeah,
it
no.
was never going to be the one that was in Diablo.
I like him, but yeah, they're not doing that. When they went to, there's a whole thing where you talk about the primevals a bunch, and there's a whole scene where you have to talk to these statues. I won't spoil anything, but when he describes, Lorath describes Diablo, kind of his whole thing, I got chills down there. Because it was
down
like this,
there.
Yeah.
Down there.
No, I mean in the
burning
cave.
hells.
I mean in the
Wait,
cave.
what are you saying exactly, Scott?
In the cave is what I meant.
He told me about Diablo.
I don't think down there is supposed to be cold. You might want to call and talk to her.
I do want this though. I want everyone to finish that part so that we can talk about the names, all their real names. Because I
don't even know that. That's a spoiler to me.
Yeah,
Dude.
you need to get to that.
I have no clue.
It's not a spoiler to tell you they have them, but when you get there, you'll be like, really?
Yeah. I don't really consider myself spoiled. I'm just saying I didn't even know that happened. Like that's great.
It's awesome.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And Diablo's real name will crack you the F up. Made me laugh.
It's Deckard Cain.
Their real names are kind of dumb.
Some of them are cool and sound like twisty and weird, but Diablo's name is dumb and great. I loved it so much, and I want it to always be his real name.
Well, because they have to justify why he's called Diablo.
They do.
Because if you really think about it, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
I thought he was the god of Spanish hell.
Yeah, it's Spanish hell.
I mean, he is, but why is he called that in this game?
Diablo. Yeah, he's got a real name, and it's kind of funny when you get there. Anyway, I don't want to give anything else away.
No, that's making me excited to play the campaign. I'm now motivated to get through the game faster and reach 100.
See, look what we did. We probably shaved a couple levels off your time somehow. Done that.
Exactly. 77. We're getting there.
We're getting there, everybody. Bo, any other thoughts about the game? I mean, obviously you've been just cranking and grinding. So what would you?
I just want to say I've been playing pretty much every waking hour since the last episode. So when you want to know what I played this week, just this all day. Except to eat, sleep, and maybe when the server goes down, then that happens. And I took a break here or there.
Did you play anything?
I felt so bad for Bo because I came to check on his stream at one point because I was checking it out periodically throughout time.
Right.
Really, Bo's stream is probably, if it wasn't for a crazy week for Twitch, which we'll get to, trying to check in on Bo was maybe the #1 thing making me want to switch to be a YouTube streamer instead. Because every time I went to check on Bo, it's like, here's an ad for the stupid Apple eye goggles and a weird dog commercial. Like every time I had to sit through it just to see what level is he.
You got to sub to my channel if you want to know things.
Yeah.
Which it was a good week to be a viewer on my channel. I want to shout out was it Crispy? I never had subs like this, but I got one person gifted 70 subs.
70
I did the math and I was like, that's like 300. Someone just dropped $350 on my stream. Like
damn.
I've been streaming 10 years. No one has ever done it, pulled a stunt like that. Very grateful.
Someone gifted me a sub today, so I've got a month of checking in on you without having to see about.
So you might have gotten one. You might have gotten one. I feel bad too. Just as a PSA, I don't have the Diablo deal where you get a free mount item if you donate 2 subs. You had to sign up for that. I have drops, but I don't have the other thing. So a whole bunch of people have given me 2 subs thinking I think they're going to get the horse.
Oh, that's funny.
I think I got like 50 subs, gifted subs because of that. And I'm like, guys, I put it in my title. I don't have it. Just stop donating.
Oh, that's freaking
But then they're
funny.
usually happy, so it's fine. But I still feel bad.
Sure. I get you. Well, all right then. That's what we played. Well, no, that's not true. I have a couple more things. Okay. So,
You have any questions about the game? I know a lot now about it.
tell me, I've noticed Whirlwind is happening a lot with your character. Did you?
I see you spinning.
Yeah, I have a whirlwind build for this.
Does that bum you
because
out, or what? Is that an irritating fact in this?
I mean, I wanted to go a leap, but it would require me to come up with it, and because I only decided. I didn't do any pre-planning in the race, whereas other people had access to the items. I could have done it. So I had to look to see what other people, professionals or whatever you want to call them, the big streamers were doing, and I settled on Rob 2628, I think is his username. He ended up scoring first place on 100 in softcore, so I was using his homework that he did for a build guide. Yeah, so it is a meta build, and that's fine. I don't mind doing.
It's
that
getting
for
the work
race,
done. It sounds like. So
I mean, I think for doing the race, that's perfect. My advice to people would be to not do it unless you're racing. Because
Yeah,
I had a weird moment where I was just kind of throwing points where I wanted to, and I was just like, oh, I'll put points here, I'll put points here, and just kind of guessing my way through, making little corrections here and there, but kind of just playing the way I wanted to play. And I started to hit a wall where I was like, oh, I'm kind of having a hard time against things. I'm getting close to dying. Things are taking too long to kill. I need to rethink this. And I went to, I think it was like Icy Veins or something, and was like looking at builds. And I almost went, I think I even did the full refund and put the points into it to like just take whatever the popular rogue build was at the time. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do it. And I started playing and I was like, I just haven't been playing this. Like, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel like how I want to play this game.
yeah.
And I switched it back. I made like one little change that I saw when I was looking through the talent tree. And I was like, oh, this seems like this will fit my build a lot better. I'm going to do this. But other than that, I went pretty much back to what I was. The next day, the build I had switched to got nerfed. Now, I don't think it got like nerfed to the ground or whatever, but it's a testament to like, unless you're doing what Bo's doing, where you're actually like trying to chase a goal.
Oh yeah, this build
like,
got nerfed in the middle 2 days ago. There's a hot nerf that went out.
But even then, like, you still should follow like some procedure to a degree, not just be whimsy if you're racing. But like, if you're just playing on your own, I say just experiment, just see what you like. Like, I really think you're doing yourself a disservice to go just look up builds.
Oh, you for sure are. Yeah, I mean I agree with that. And if, like I said, if I was playing this for fun, I would be doing Leap, Kick, Barbarian, because it's just jumping around. I love Leap in this game. Leap is so well animated in this go around, and so is Kick. There's an ability where you don't use any of your weapons; you just kick them in the nuts. Why would you want to like use? Like, why wouldn't you want to do that? It's amazing.
Yeah, why wouldn't you want to just kick him in the nuts every time?
Charge is awesome. They've really updated the like not mechanics. I don't know, the technology, I guess. Like, so you can body check people into walls and then do damage to them and stun them when they hit walls with charge. Like, it's a lot better about that kind of stuff. A lot more meaty. The same way they did with Warrior and WoW, where they made the charge really awesome. And I can't play it, and I'm sad. So take John's advice and do what makes you happy.
Do what John does. Do as
That
John
said,
does.
my build feels awesome. If it got nerfed, I wouldn't be surprised because I am.
You call it mud build?
No, my build.
My build.
Oh,
mud build.
I mean, we can call it mud build.
Yeah, that's some of that 40% coming out. I'm loving it. That's good.
But no, like I'm on world tier 3, and with the exception of like occasionally in nightmare dungeons, I am just chunking through anything that gets thrown at me at the moment. Like, I'm kind of just like, boy, I wish I was level 70 so I could bump the difficulty up on this game, because right now it's a little too easy with the build that I have.
Yeah.
I really like it. So I'm having a ton of fun on the road.
The one thing I did want to say, and I'll put this up real quick for the chat. This is me in game. This has always been a problem with Diablo. Okay, so it's not like a problem just now. but everyone is so non-aware or worried at all that I have 7 weirdos going with me everywhere I go. They don't know.
They're like, hey, welcome to our village, but you've got like a flesh golem. And
I got all this dirty shit going on,
priest.
all this dark business, and they're floating mages in the back, and these skeletal guys in the front, and they're crowding the room.
That's normal.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, hey, welcome to the thing. And then when they tell the story, those all disappear, and it's just me and Lorath or whoever's talking. And then when the talking's done, bloop, they all pop in again, and it's a little weird, but it's always been this way. Not a new thing. Last game, same deal, but.
Staying on grinding gear, when you really think about it, ARPGs are some of the most unrealistic games. Like Diablo is a Excel spreadsheet game disguised as a fantasy game.
Yeah.
It's math and numbers. So there's just a lot of those contrivances, and you just got to be okay with it.
Yeah,
it's fine.
You got to be okay with it. Is a good way of putting it. Well, there's that. What else? Oh, I played Final Fantasy VII. Yeah,
how far did you get in remake?
I played the original PlayStation game on my Ambernick. And
of course. It's great. It's classic.
And I tried it, and I thought, well, this will be fun just to dink around because I barely remember the PlayStation game. And it's like 3.5 hours later, and I'm still playing it. And
yeah, it's a good game, man.
I got really into it. It sucked me in hard. I'm like looking forward to playing more of this game. And suddenly I don't care about random encounters. Suddenly it's fine for me for some reason.
I'd argue Final Fantasy, John's played them all, so he might argue this is true of all of them, and I wouldn't dispute that. But I'd argue Final Fantasy VII is pretty timeless. Even if some of the stuff is like not modern anymore. Like you said, the turn-based stuff is kind of out of date for 2023.
Sure.
Yeah, but it plays.
The story really sucks you in, and the production value. Even then, like you're in a train, then you're going to this weird generator, and then
yeah.
I'm really happy to hear you playing it.
Yeah, awesome. I like it a lot, and I think the music's great. I think the like you said, the story's very good. It's fun to see it again from this perspective and not in the big remake zone. There's something very timeless about that. I even think the pre-rendered background stuff holds up in a weird way. Maybe it's because I'm on a tiny screen and I don't care as much. But the amount of fun I'm having is weirding me out. And also, that's okay. So this is down to why I'm pissed about that remake thing coming to phones or whatever the hell they're making there isn't turn-based or that is turn-based, but it's not a true Final Fantasy VII remake because I'd play the shit out of that. I want turn-based combat. I feel like John before remake came out. Remember how hardcore you were on this point? I don't want the new combat system. And we all agree the combat system in the modern games, including 16 coming up here in a couple of weeks, is good. They do a really great job of saying, all right, well, in the modern world, nobody wants turn-based. But I'm here to say and put my flag in the ground. I like turn-based games. I always have, and I always will. And I kind of wish these games would quit trying to reinvent that wheel. It's just fun. It's fun to strategize and make choices about who's going to use what and when. And I know you can still sort of do that in a real-time way, but I miss the turn-based. So I'm having a blast with that. And I didn't expect to even fire it up. So that's how weird I am. I was actually just testing a bunch of PS1 ROMs, and one of them was...
can you get the mods on there?
Oh, I don't know about mods. I mean, I'm just running raw.
Ambernick, yeah.
ROM, yeah. It's just a ROM.
I thought it was Steam Deck because you can buy it on Steam, and you have a Steam Deck. Like I know you like your Ambernick, and maybe that's where you're going to play it. Fair enough. But it is Steam Deckable.
Yeah, totally.
And probably you can run mods on your Steam Deck for it and get 60 frames per second. Yeah,
totally could do that if I maybe I still will. I don't know, but
I mean, if you're just like, I really like this game.
Yeah, it's fun.
I think 7 holds up in pretty much every way except maybe the script. I think there does need to be someone needs to do a new pass on 7's script. It's a little dated, but in general, it's real good.
Yeah.
And the only issue I had was some of the mods I did to increase the frame rate. It made some sections of the game unplayable.
Really,
I would have to exit the game, turn off the mods, go back into the game, and it had to do with like sometimes they would do these environmental like traps where you'd have to walk through something like between a geyser burst, but the increased frame rate meant the geyser burst was going off all the time and you couldn't walk through it. So there's weird things like that, but I mean, in general, Final Fantasy VII, I agree with Bo. It's pretty timeless. It shows its age in a couple places, but it's really solid.
What's funny is I think so I was messing around just with different Final Fantasies, different Dragon Quests, just kind of like seeing what was what, seeing what the reviews were. This was only in Japan, so it's only came here on DS, and this ROM has the English translation. Should I play that? And I almost started playing 6. And I thought, well, wait, the PlayStation version of 6 is here. Let's try that. And that's not a good version of 6. PlayStation version's not great of 6. I think the definitive way to play 6 is either the pixel remasters like John played, or the SNES ROM is where I would play it. And I may still do that. But I just fired up a couple of, like, Chrono Cross I had up just to check it out. I sent John a picture of it while I was messing around with it.
Yeah, I knew immediately. Did you know I would know?
I knew you'd know. I knew you'd know. I mean, that was a test.
Anything
to
with
see.
the word chrono in it, you know what it is.
I knew that you would probably know, but it was a test to see if you did, and you did. You knew immediately what it was. And it was just in the little.
I even watched the anime Chrono Crusade simply because it had Chrono in it.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I know.
Wow. What if someone tells you one day
you're a chronomancer?
I'd be like, oh, great. This is awesome.
Sign me up. Anyway, so I played the hell out of that. What was my point there? I guess that's it. It's great. I'm going to keep playing it. And I think I'm going to keep playing it in just like raw ass PS1 mode, which, by the way, is running at 60 frames on this Ambernick. I don't know why, but I don't have the I don't have a limited frame rate on the Ambernick. It's running like high speed. I don't know what's going on there.
That's
anyway,
great.
Also, Hollow Knight. Okay, hear me out for a second.
I see you've done the experiment that I've done, Scott, and decided to go back and try Hollow Knight.
Yes, and I'm starting to see where the problem is. Diablo came out, and then I was like, kind of like, well, if I've got time to play, I'm doing that. But I got in there enough and got far enough where I can kind of see why people love it so much. It's a little bit of a brain fart because a lot of Metroidvanias don't do what this game does. This game has a lot of stuff to do with getting back up to the hub and getting life conveniences at the hub. So going down, doing a bunch of shit, extending story, getting into new areas, getting those little rocks or whatever, and then going back up to the top and spending that currency on a thing that will auto map while you're down there, or pinpoint where you are while you're down there, or basically just introduce quality of life improvements to the game. Yeah. And now that I understand that more, that's kind of the loop. Go down, do stuff, come up here, spend some of your money, and now you're awesome when you go down next time because you can do this one thing you couldn't do before. I'm starting to understand why people like that game more than I did before. So I'm still not horribly far into it. I'm maybe 4 hours into this game, but I think I'm starting to get it, and I think I'll keep coming back. I'm not sure I'll finish it.
You feel like such a pessimist when you say that, because to me, that's the thing that made me mad. I was like, well, wait a minute. Instead of getting cool new abilities,
yeah,
I'm going back up to unlock basic functionality in other video games.
You're not wrong, John.
What level do you unlock email and text messaging?
Like, that's what it felt like to me.
You're not wrong about that.
I understand Hollow Knight is not for me. I'm not trying to make the claim that it is a bad game, because boy, do I hear about it every time we talk about it. But it's just like, that was my take from it. I was just like, this isn't really working for me in a bunch of different reasons. And the only thing I'm unlocking to feel better is stuff that exists out of the gate in other video games I like more.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. The game's planted its flag in the idea that you're kind of starting with nothing, and you can't really do, like, the map alone, like just not giving me a basic map right away is very off-putting, because it's a big labyrinth of nightmare. It's just really hard to know where you are and what you're doing. Now that I've got that, it's like, oh, okay, now we're back on par with, like, a baseline Metroid game or a baseline Castlevania game. So I don't know. I'm a little torn on it, but I'm having more fun now that I've done some of that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because that's what I think. I asked people, I was like, well, when does it get good? And they're like, it's good right away. And I think that, like, for a lot of people, like, the art, the music, the style, and the tight gameplay is what people like about it.
Right.
Like, it's not that periphery. You know, like if you ask me, John, why is Aria of Sorrow so good as a Castlevania? I go, oh, let's get this cool soul system, and you get a bunch of cool weapons. I really like how these weapons work, and there's these mechanics and all of that. But it's, I think, a more basic level for Hollow Knight, where it's like, this is what it is, and it executes on it really well. Like it's the Raising Canes of video games. Like, you know, you're not going there to get a wide variety of things, but if you want chicken tenders, gosh dang it, these are really good chicken tenders.
And that sauce,
that's
you
what
have
they
to get
do.
the sauce.
And that sauce,
yeah, and the sauce
is so good. The first time you go, though, you're like, really? People are excited about this sauce? And then you go to bed and you have a dream about it. Like, why did I dream about sauce? And you go there a second time and then you're like, this sauce is delicious and I want it all the time now.
Yeah, I want to put it on
Something
everything.
very mysterious going on at Raising Cane's.
Yeah, I don't trust that place. It's too addictive. Something's going on with that sauce. It's really good.
But I think that's Hollow Knight. And I think the problem is just like, to use the analogy, I don't like chicken tenders. I do in real life, but to like for the equivalent for Hollow Knight.
And there's also a little bit with Hollow Knight where the chicken tenders are there, but the sauce, you got to go do a bunch of shit and then go get the sauce. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just like,
I'm
here's
still
the
gonna
tenders.
Get tweets and emails, man.
It's like, oh, you want to cook?
It's gonna be alive.
It's like you want to cook these chicken tenders. Well, that's gonna take a little, like it feels like that a little bit. But I'm in a little bit into the treadmill, and I think it's okay. It's time though now for an update from the WWE 2K3 Core Rules Frog Wrestling update. Beep 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 beep. John, what's going on over there? What's happening?
Yeah, I mostly just played Diablo 4. In fact, I got a bunch of new wrestlers I need to make for Frog Wrestling, and I have not gotten around to it because I've just been playing Diablo 4 like somebody who has no life. But we did do Wrestling Wednesday this Wednesday. The core crew continues to dominate, man. We won our matches against the WWE. We kicked them out of our division. You know, we have all the gold. You and Bo have the tag team titles. Scott, you're the Frog Pants champion. I am the Dragon Beef champion.
Yep.
You know, like look at us with our gold. It's on the video right now.
Yep.
It's just the way it is. And we're going to try and see if anybody can knock us off the ladder.
So Bo and I are a tag team now, currently.
Yeah, you're wearing the tag team titles. You technically have 2 belts. Not shown is the Frog Pants Championship.
Okay.
That's the TMS tag title.
Right.
You can see your TMS logo
right.
on there.
Yep.
Just stole some
congratulations
from
to
you
us
put
for
in
being
my
the best.
video game.
Yeah, well done, Bo.
Congratulations to us for being the best in our own league.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that probably think it's funny that the guy who runs it and sets it up just can't seem to be a part of a loser faction. I do lose matches, but like,
yeah,
I mean, my God, I'm a superstar. What can I say? But
Sure.
like, it's fun. You never know how it's gonna go. It continues to just be a blast. I think next week, for those interested, we are going to finally determine #1 contendership for Scott's title. He's gonna finally have to defend it. He got it by default.
Yeah.
You know, how do you not give Scott the Frog Pants Championship by default?
Can I ask you a question,
But
John?
now it's time for him to actually defend the thing.
Sure.
Can I ask you a question, John?
Yeah.
Is this all leading up to like a WrestleMania type event?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'd like to
Alright.
do. I want to find a flow where maybe like 3 out of 4 Wednesdays a month are kind of like low key, like we're building story, we're finding out who's where, and then like once a month do something really big, and then maybe I like a 2-day streaming event where it's like, nah, this is WrestleMania. But we gotta get a lot more people in there first, because you know we only have so many wrestlers in there, so it's a lot of people fighting, you know, the same pool of people week to week. We kind of have just enough to get by at the moment. Like Tom didn't wrestle this week. We're only just now hitting a point where somebody doesn't wrestle, but he did come down to the ring because Tom is now the manager of the mod syndicate. So
right.
you know he's got stuff to do. But yeah, it just continues to be a blast, and you know people are shockingly invested in these storylines, which is very fun. So am I. I get excited about it. I'm really grateful we won our match against the WWE because I really had no idea what I was going to do narratively if WWE just keeps beating us week after week.
Yeah.
So we got a direction to go. I think not this week, but next week we're gonna put all the titles on the line. So maybe that'll be our first big event, because we're gonna have every title get defended in one show.
Wow, I feel like we're just violating these pro wrestlers. The stuff we're doing to them.
I mean, we won. We did good. We did an amazing job. So
Wow. All right. So this ends in our victory. This very match here.
it does. If you want to scoot ahead, though, you get busted open. This ends with you bloody, Scott.
Oh, really?
Not bad bloody, but you got blood coming out of your nose and stuff.
Let's see. I'm gonna get to the end here. Okay, we'll count it down. Is it right after the count? Yep, we win.
You're getting pretty close. Yeah.
Okay.
Because this is Bo's pin. He got a mysterious pin. We don't even know how he won.
Oh yeah, they don't. Well, maybe they will.
Oh yeah, because we got to do a replay. We got to show here's some choice moments from the match. So
Yeah.
we got a little do a recap of all the things that got us here.
Yep.
But yeah, when it goes to the victory screen, you're gonna see you got busted open, which by the way wasn't happening. And I went into the options and I found that there was an option to turn blood on, and I was like, well, of course I want blood on.
Oh yeah.
I
That's-
don't know who doesn't want blood on? So I turned that on, and now somebody seems to get busted open literally every match. Someone's bloody. So yeah, there you are, Scott. You got a big old bloody face.
Yeah, I got a little bloody face, a little bit of schmear on the eye. Look at those stupid jorts. Oh my gosh, look at that. Viewers match rating, greatest of all time.
It was a good match. It was really good.
Damn. All right. There's your update. Be happy John's doing this because it's one of the greatest things ever done, ever. I love it. It's on your YouTube channel.
Telling other people about it and they're watching it.
Yeah, it's great. The archive's on YouTube at Craftless Rogue on YouTube.
Yep.
Just search for it and you'll find it.
Craftless Rogue on YouTube.
All right, we are going to
craft.
Exactly.
No craft.
Let's take a break. When we come back from this break, dear Martha, some other quick news of note, and a text from a listener, and a mashup this week. Ooh. So that's all coming up here in a second.
Oh, we got a mashup? Oh no.
Hell yeah, dude. That's a good
I mean,
one.
I'm looking forward to
Oh
it.
no! Oh no!
Oh no!
I might die doing that, listening to that.
Oh no, another one. Yeah, it's going to be great. I can't wait to hear it. So we'll do that shortly. Everybody come back real soon, and we'll see you then. All right, I'm going to pause everything. Pause.
Community, that's
Sure.
pretty much all I know. And yeah, he's,
Fair enough. Well, here's, we're back, everybody. I'm going to hit resume here. Hold on. Okay, and we're back. We've returned. It's time for us to dive straight into it. Dear Martha, that's right. John's prepared a fantastic look at a magazine from yesteryear. And we're going to do that right now. John, any special setup we got to do here or anything?
Nothing special today.
Well, let's kick it off then.
My dearest Martha,
Good Lord.
today
Sonny.
we look at Cyber Surfer magazine #2 from July of 1995. It is their second and final issue of this magazine. But I had to know what it was all about. The cover looks like every Microsoft Word art offering I made in middle school. It's busy, it possesses every color possible, 100 different fonts, gradients all to hell, and is just a mess. But honestly, we all kind of thought that was okay in 1995. I also can't tell if the fake Beavis and Butthead on the cover are meant to be bad to avoid any possible legal action, or are bad because this is the best they could do. But either way, it's shockingly bad, even in the realm of bad cover art. Now, I know back in 2023, you all think Apple is showing you the future with their very expensive, creepy-ass goggles. But I do want to remind you that the future already did arrive, way back in 1995 with the Cybermax, a $700 VR headset that promises to change the world. I can't wait for this technology to take off someday. Maybe if they add a creepy set of eyes to the front of it, it'll really go somewhere. I think the most impressive thing about this magazine is just how much of the magazine is dedicated to writing about internet content. It's sort of like bragging to your boss non-stop about the guy they hired to replace you. But yeah, it's just a crazy amount of screenshots of old internet content, including an entire section dedicated to web pages that are in turn dedicated to nothing but images of Uma Thurman. 1995 stuff. This all began as an experiment to see why a short-lived and very obscure magazine didn't last, and maybe that has been made clear by the content hyping stuff outside of the magazine more than what was in the pages themselves. However, when I went to find an ad for this week, I discovered maybe there's a second issue. There were almost no ads in the things. A few for other magazines, t-shirts, and mouse pads, but it's clear that they may have been in trouble already. So, here's the ad for mouse pads. Nothing funny about it. They come in Star Wars and Star Trek flavors. The Star Trek ones are more expensive, so take that for what you will. The one based on the utopian future free of currency costs more than the one that isn't. Anyway, I'm coming back to 2023 to play more Diablo 4. Maybe I will see you there if the servers go down again. Yours in time, S. Beckett 95.
Oh my gosh, that was a good one today. Something's wrong with my audio, but you skipped over something. What was it? Now I forgot what I was going to say. It was something that really cracked me up. Oh, the cyber surfing the World Wide Web. Normally they just say surfing the World Wide Web, but this is cyber surfing the World Wide Web.
Yeah, cyber surfing.
Yeah.
Gotta be cyber surfing the World Wide Web.
What is that about? That's terrible. That's a dumb thing to say, and I regret
People
seeing it.
used to use the word cyber with the internet for some
Well,
reason.
it's Cyber Surfer Magazine. You got to get your branding in there.
Yeah, cyberspace they used to call it, right?
Yep. Not long ago. Well, I don't know. In relative terms. I mean, our
They
country
used to call it cyber sex. Now it's just OnlyFans.
Yep. Hey, is it weird that I've never even looked at can you even go to that or go to OnlyFans on the web, or is it only an app thing? Do you guys know?
I don't know.
Is this like outing you to ask you that? I don't know how this works.
Scott's like, guys, how does...
No,
OnlyFans
I've been to the
Asking
site
for a
before,
friend.
but then it wants you to log in. I was like, oh, never mind.
Oh, so you can't even just like
I can't remember. I was going to look at something. I don't remember what.
so you
Porn.
so
But
you,
I didn't. I was like, I'm not signing up for this shit.
because anybody can do it, right? Like I'm looking at this one here, and this guy's sewing something. This other guy's making art. It's not just naked ladies, is it?
I don't know.
Well, no. Remember they wanted to get rid of porn for a while.
Yeah.
Remember they were like, sorry, this wasn't meant for porn. This was meant for people who have fans.
Yeah, and then everyone
of
went,
regular shit, guys.
Yeah.
And then they were like, wait a minute, we're gonna go broke, and our shareholders' money's gonna disappear if we do this. So, JK, everyone, back to boobies and PB.
Funny enough,
And
you
all
should
that.
bring up a poor decision by a large company who's out of touch with their users.
What an awesome transition.
Yeah, great transition, it turns out. We have some other news, and one of them is Twitch nearly killing itself and walking it back. But there's a pretty good cautionary tale here. Now, real quick, I actually have a theory that may be a little crackpotty. I need a tinfoil hat for this. I don't really have one. I have this. I could try this on my head, maybe. That's pretty big, though. Here we go. All right, here's what I'm going to say. It's terrible. I got to get rid of that.
That's good. I like it. I like it a lot.
It's heinous. So I got this thing in the mail. Let me read this to you real quick. This is part of this initiative, which they're still doing. But here's what they said. This is from Twitch, an email I got. Hey, Frog Pants. With this email, Twitch is providing you with written notice that your partner agreement will not auto-renew for the next renewal term and will terminate 1 year from the date of this email or earlier upon your acceptance of the
1
new
year
of the new monetized streamer agreement, all in caps. Please be on the lookout for other emails from Twitch team, which will detail information about the updated agreement and where to review and accept. Thank you, Twitch. So everybody who's partnered got one of these, and the reason they're getting this is they're changing their partner terms, and their initial stab at this was really kind of nuts, like just crazy. Like you could only use 3% of screen space for any logos of any kind. You could not embed video at all. Another video on your video or in your video. The idea basically is to curtail people who just use a Twitch account to then bring in other affiliates who then pay you money to use your Twitch account to then be exposed, which I kind of get why they don't want that, but they went way overboard on it, didn't consult their users at all, and basically just shit the bed. What's really weird about it, and I'll get to my conspiracy in a second, is this thing they put on Twitter today, which to me is still, it reeks of I don't know how you write this. This seems like the strangest thing I've ever seen anyone write. And here's what they said. This is their tweet. Yesterday, from @Twitch, this is their verified account. Yesterday, we released new branded content guidelines that impacted our ability to work with sponsors, your ability to work with sponsors to increase your income from streaming. These guidelines are bad for you and bad for Twitch, and we're removing them immediately. Now, if they were bad for us and bad for Twitch, why did you put them up in the first place?
Because we wanted to see if we could get away with it, Scott.
Okay, so that leans into my theory. Here is my theory. Do you know that story? It's kind of famous story. I think they talked about it on 4 Days to Air, which was the documentary about Matt Stone and Trey Parker and how they make full episodes of South Park every week. And
I found out Bill Hader wrote for them.
That's how I found out too. That blew my mind.
That's the weirdest thing in the world. Just cut to the writer's room. Bill Hader's in there.
And they did that amazing cuttlefish episode. Was the whole thing they were doing. Anyway, I'm sorry, Kyle. I had the cuttlefish. Anyway, so in that episode, they were also talking about how they got away with so much that they got away with in Team America Air Police or whatever it's called. What's it called? Team
America World Police.
World Police. Air Police.
Oh, I see where you're going with this because I know the story about what they did.
Yeah, so their story was
continue.
they had this sex scene they wanted to put in there between puppets, which is already ridiculous. And they knew they were going to get resistance from the network or from the studio. So what did they do? They decided to put the most they filmed the most heinous puppet on puppet action you could think of. These puppets were pooping on each other, like doing the worst things you can think of, so that when they went to the studio would say, "Oh, you got to cut some of that back. We can't have all this."
It's a negotiation, right? Like,
yeah, they cut back.
Yeah.
They gave them all this ridiculous level of stuff so they knew they'd come back to here, and this is where they wanted to be. I think that's what they did here. I think this was them going, well, let's just put out...
It's corpo thinking at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, let's put out the shittiest
Ask for more than what you
possible.
want so that I'll get what I really want.
Exactly. That's 100% what I think happened. And I could be proven wrong if I knew more internally, and I don't.
I mean,
don't
we'll see, but I think it would be naive to think that changes aren't a coming.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's
weird over there.
I was already thinking of getting away from Twitch for a lot of reasons. Decisions like this certainly don't help. Don't make me want to stick around.
No.
And people have pointed out YouTube has similar policies, but they've been in place and are obviously not enforced. They're there for the most egregious of egregious, so that they have something they can point to.
Sure.
So, enforcement is a big part of it and how it will come down to it. But Twitch not doing it. We're obviously doing our show on YouTube now, and I think you're pretty happy with that transition overall, right?
Shockingly happy with it. I didn't expect to be. I was just going to do a test for a week and then figured I'd just do whatever, but it ended up working out great. Everything's better on every metric. Every measurable metric is better here for me. I'm not saying this can be true for everybody, but for somebody who hit a real ceiling over there with a kind of content array that isn't typical for Twitch. I do lots of gaming stuff, but lots of other stuff that isn't. And I just felt like I was stuck. And I came over here and now I'm not.
You're a known person. Like, I live in Ottawa, and sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, I do a podcast," and like, okay, but everyone does. A lot of people do podcasts. No big deal. I'm like, yeah, it's with Scott Johnson. Like, they know you. Like, what? You know that guy?
Right.
Not to say like you're not going to toot your own horn. So let me toot your horn for you. Is that like you do the WoW Q&A? Like, you are a person of note, and you were massively ignored there. In my opinion, like, to get an email like that, and not an email like, "Shit, man, you left Twitch. You're the instance guy. You're the WoW Q&A guy. Like, you do core. Like, what can we do to help you?" That should be the email. It's like, "Shit, man, we've been out of touch for a while. Like, what can we do to bring you back?" Or like, "Let's talk." Like, it's like, oh, you're not interested in money over there, pretty much.
No,
like,
you summed it up. You're basically saying that the whole problem is they didn't talk and don't seem to care about what It's one thing to say, okay, well, the business model's suffering and we can't hit our numbers and all that, and Amazon needs us to, and I understand those forces, but on the one hand, you're not going to improve your financial outlook if you screw with the people who are your entire financial worth. Like, there is no Twitch without your streamers. So without your streamers, what do you have? Even if, I was saying this on DTNS or something, even if YouTube suddenly said one day, no more streaming, we're just going to be like YouTube the way it used to be. It's just post videos. No more streaming, no more live stuff at all. We're just taking that out of the equation. They would still survive. They'd be fine because they have the foundation for everything else already. Twitch has one thing and one thing only, and it's streamers. They don't have great archiving and backup or any kind of like that. They don't do the YouTube thing at all. They just stream, and that's great. And that's, they forged a lot of trails when this thing happened in the very first time. The transition from Justin TV to this, I remember all that. It's a big deal. But to pretend like they literally are your partners in this. Without them, you have zero. You don't have anything. So to just stab them all in the back like that and be so nonplussed about it, I really don't get it. I don't understand where these people are coming from. It kind of blew my mind this week.
Yeah, and it continues to be a problem too. I mean, we were joking about it earlier, but I genuinely hated trying to go to Bo's stream to get hit by a wall of ads before I could even see it and have to ask myself, well, how bad do I care what level he is right now?
Right.
Because, sometimes I'm just checking in to literally find that information out because I just want to know where my friend is at in a video game. And I have to sit through, it doesn't seem like much, but 30 seconds of ads, and then half the time the player broke, and I'd have to reload, and then it was a coin toss on if I had to watch those same ads again or if it went right to his stream. And so we're talking like a minute of ads to get 2 seconds of information.
Mm-hmm.
And it's obnoxious. And I looked at it, and I made a decent chunk of my Twitch payout money from ads, but I recognized that it was not a good experience for people coming for the wrestling streams because you're there to watch the matches. And people told me like, oh, I was in the middle of a match and I got ads. I didn't know how it ended and stuff like that. That sucks. I turned him off because it's like the advertisements are a net negative impact on the people that are there to view it. And it shouldn't be there as an incentive to try and get people to sub that we're making the experience awful. Like, that's not how it should work. And so I have ads turned off on my page. I was gonna just do it for the wrestling stream, but after like getting frustrated trying to see other people's pages, like I think I'm gonna kind of just do it all the time. And I'm kind of moving away towards, YouTube as well, because it's just frustrating to me. Like, it's such a bad experience.
Well, some of that, seeing that stuff,
out a stream.
That's what's weird, or that's part of the bigger problem is that stuff existed prior to these decisions this week. So they were already sort of stepping over existing problems well described by you to then make more problems on top of it. And never really addressing other long-standing issues of toxicity and just moderation and all the other issues that plague these kinds of services and sites. And Twitch is one of the biggest problems. They've also got some cultural issues and all of that. I'm not saying internally, but certainly, the user base. So they don't really deal with that stuff very well, or haven't in recent years. And so to come back to this and immediately start plugging this stuff in without pretending all that's not already a problem, it's just bad. And, okay, so I found a quote from Julian Fest, I think is his last name. I'm not sure about that. But he's the founder of Elgato. He did a big tweet today that I thought was interesting. He said, I would love to be CEO of Twitch for a year and try to help fix things. And then he went on to say, we started Elgato around the time Justin TV rebranded to Twitch. In the following years, it was amazing to see Twitch turn into a cultural phenomenon. It was admired by the gaming community, creators, and viewers alike. Bleed Purple was a real thing. Twitch was innovative. They put live streaming on the map. They took moderation seriously. They took monetization seriously. They innovated. He says, I don't pretend to know what's going on the inside right now, but it looks very painful on the outside. Here are the first things I would do. Roll back the 50-50 sub-split decision. 70-30 in favor of streamers is a must, and this is really not financially viable. Or sorry, if this is not really financially viable, then there have to be ways to improve profitability that are not at the expense of the creators. He goes on to say a whole bunch more, but I agree 1,000% with that thinking. And he's very nice about it. He's not like calling Twitch out. He's just like, I don't know what's going on over there, but this seems like it wouldn't be that hard. Like you want to. There's almost like a sense of like the fears everybody had about Amazon buying them may now be coming to roost because Amazon just wants them to perform. But have you ever seen anything cool and innovative since the Amazon buyout? It feels like they haven't really done much other than Prime subs. They should, imagine the tools and the buying power that Amazon has. The fact that I can't go to a stream and have that streamer hold up something he's talking about, have that immediately recognized and translate to, do you want to buy one of these too? And off you go to Amazon to buy it. Like lots of little things like that are absolutely within their technical reach. None of that happens over there. There's so many unused channels of revenue for this company. And now they're basically saying to the only real reason they even exist, hey, sorry, we're putting more restrictions in and making it harder for you to want to be here. Why the frick would you want to be there?
Yeah,
you know,
it's weird. It's really bizarre. And you know, sometimes when a company's owned by a larger company, you just see stuff like that. But I mean, to answer your question, like I actually did play with I got a bunch of YouTube shorts up over the weekend because Twitch does have a really innovative way to make a YouTube short clip from your clips channel. Even that could use a little work because unfortunately they don't let you edit it specifically as far as like what time, but you can set like your screen position. It's really easy to export. But it's like, again, it's an easy export to YouTube function.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of undercutting themselves with it. And I've like the first thing that Twitch has done recently that's impressed me has been something to make my life on YouTube easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that funny? Like it's one of the comments here says something similar. It says, personally for monetization, Twitch is sitting on the largest gold mine right now under their noses and they don't even notice it. Clips. If Twitch simply invested in a simple mobile service that turned clips into scrollable services like TikTok and Shorts, they would have an outlet for unlimited ads and could let streamers stream. Like these are just small things, but it feels like they have waited too long, maybe, or they've maybe management. I don't know what it is, but it just feels real funky.
You know, what it feels like, it's like somebody with old ideas from traditional TV trying to figure this out.
Yeah, it does.
It's like old TV is like, well, it like looks at it like, well, this is our broadcasting channel. How come creators can negotiate their own sponsorships? Like we should be getting a cut of it. It's our like broadcast channel. Why are they getting it? And it's like, well, that's not the point of streaming. The point of streaming is it's like just people in their homes doing shit. And yeah, people have turned it into big commercial business. Some big streamers have. Most streamers are not that big, and they need those things. Like it's still small business, and they're totally ignoring their smaller tier of people.
Right.
You know, I feel like if someone's making millions of dollars off some sort of deal and they're streaming on your platform, I don't know. I can see feeling a little bit left out of the money conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just look at broad policy that affects everybody, including the small ones, like you can't apply that to those people because, like you said, that's what I'm saying. They should be calling you and saying like, oh, you know, you make really good content. You've been here for a long time. And we do, evidenced by our supporters. If you want to look at any metrics financially, they should be like, yo, we should get this show in front of more people. That's how we make more money. We sell more ads. Although they shouldn't put ads at the top of the show. Just I'm all over the place a little bit because I'm playing Diablo, but they shouldn't put ads at the top because that kills discoverability. As soon as I hit an ad, I tab out, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are like that. So they're really just using traditional TV ideas like in a really bad way, and I feel like whoever's in charge right now, it's those people that have old ideas and they don't understand. Someone there who is influential in decision making doesn't understand how this thing works, but can just look at it like they're broadcasting for free on our channel, like our channels, our network, and we're not getting any toll money for it. And that's not what happened. You know, you couldn't do that on HBO, right? Let me play my show on your channel, but I'll pay you nothing. You know, like obviously
I don't know
HBO's going to want
and
something.
I don't know if it was if it was confirmed, but today somebody was saying that if you, I can't remember where I found it somewhere. I was trying to find it. But if you cancel your partnership contract in lieu in the wake of all this, they're charging cancellation fees, which is a very weird thing to do. So I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on over there. Yeah,
they're keeping, like, if you can't maintain, it actually, I believe, I heard, again, I don't know, but I heard that, like, even if you were to get banned, if you can't fulfill your obligations and you're not going to be on the platform, you get charged for it. So in theory, you could be banned and they could charge you for getting banned from the platform.
They charge you from getting, it's that stuff's super weird. And then they have this public messaging going, we screwed up, we totally effed up. But after they sent that message, they sent me that email. We're providing you with written notice that your partner agreement will not auto-renew, because we basically have to re-sign new contracts.
Yeah, I guess maybe somebody over here says, hey, why don't we treat these streamers like Amazon warehouse employees? Like, what's the deal here?
We don't need them. What do they do for us?
Yeah, what do they do for us until they're not there, and then you realize, oops. I mean, look, Amazon can take the hit on this being a loss leader. I don't know why they don't want to grow it or do something, but they could still take the hit. It's has cultural significance. It has it's a meaningful name in the sprawl of internet business. And just do it. Just do it right. I don't know what to tell them.
I mean, Twitch can't be the only company in the world that can make a live stream platform. Kick is kind of doing it, but I think Kick is not the chosen one.
Plus, they're kind of dicks about it. Kick popped in and said...
It's not like it's easy, but like someone... It's not like Twitter. Twitter, everyone's like very... Like, that's still a tough thing to peel out of.
Yeah.
I think Twitch is definitely... Everyone knows Amazon's a big corporate overlord, and the time is nigh, man. An alternative streaming platform could do well right now.
I think that I'll bet you money, I could be totally wrong on this, but I'll bet you there are executives at Microsoft that are kicking themselves in the butt for ending Mixer.
They might have held out with Mixer.
Just hold out another year and a half. That's all you had to have done.
I really hate Microsoft's
Mixer's
naming.
Really not good.
Mixer sounds like, let's go out to a Mixer.
Well, Mixer wasn't their name. They bought Mixer, already called Mixer.
Oh, what do they call it? Xbox live streaming S?
No, I mean, they just called it. What I'm saying, they bought they bought Mixer, and it was called Mixer, and they kept the name. So it's not.
Oh, okay, yeah, they shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, had they done that and decided to innovate themselves, they could have pulled. I think they could have pulled that off, and there would have been the kind of competition that would maybe even drive more. The only thing, I don't think Twitch realizes.
I think people in power are still too old right now.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think streaming is a young person's game. Like, there are older people on it and older people who watch it, but I think business-wise, it really just feels like we're dealing with TV conversations from 20 years ago when it comes to what Twitch is doing right now.
Yeah.
And that's it's a guess, but like, it's a different thing. I even have a contention with even calling it broadcasting, right? Like, there's, lots of broadcasting laws, broadcasting rules. It's a broadcast, no copyrighted content. I'm like, it's not a broadcast. It's a window into my house, and I'm chatting with people. If I talk through a window, no one's going to charge me a toll to talk through a window, even if it's to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Like, I that's the culture. The business end of things is totally different than the culture. And I don't know when that's going to change. I think that generation has to grow up, and a lot of people have to understand that live streaming is like not broadcast, even though technically, it's a broadcast.
Yeah, those ideas and those dinosaurs have a way of holding out. I mean, look at the music industry. I feel like the music industry has been in that position for a long time. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, they surely got to all be dead by now, and yet still not the case. So
it's terrible. Like, music's meant to be shared. Like you're not meant to.
It's the biggest hurdle for anything. Like, my latest the latest Frog Wrestling VOD, not available in some territories. Turns out it was Russia, so I wasn't.
Oh, you might get in trouble on Twitch. Isn't that branded content?
Does it have WWE? No, well, yeah, that's a whole point.
Because this branded
guidelines.
This problem with the guideline was like, I watch LCS sometimes, or even let's say Heroes. Like, they have sponsored ads in their streams.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they have to do that.
Dude, the freaking Summerfest we just watched today.
You can't freaking have esports without it. Like, shut up, Amazon.
Dude,
like,
Jeff Keighley literally went, use DoorDash today and had a giant logo on the screen. It's like, where do you draw the line?
When you play that WWE game, there's big ads for like Prime Energy in the game.
Yeah.
Like, just as part of like arena setup and stuff like that. You don't really mind it because it's like, well, that's how arenas look. So it's like, I'd kind of rather it be for real products than just made up shit. But like, is that a problem? What if it takes up more than 3% of my screen when it zooms in past
It's a problem at a boardroom table. Like, these people work there 40 hours a week. They're always coming up with ideas to impress their superiors and shareholders. And you sit at the board meeting and go like, well, why aren't they paying us for, like Jeff Keighley can show ads. Where's our cut?
Yeah.
It's our platform. Why not? And that's been the problem with TV forever, is people owning, cable lines and people owning, all those negotiations. Why Star Trek was so hard to get off the ground because of all the different rights holders, like, and people are trying to dig their claws in on streaming shit. And, it's just, that's when it gets to not be cool. Like, so I don't know. I feel like a Valve kind of approach, like a privately owned company with someone like Gabe, who you give him credit for running his company well.
That's why they refuse. I mean, they've said it before. Gabe refuses to go public for these very reasons. He doesn't want that.
Yeah, because Steam's gonna suck once it goes public for sure. When he passes away and everyone goes like, we all want to retire. Let's go public. They're gonna say it's amazing, new era for Steam, the best ever, and we all know what's gonna happen. People gonna fuck it up. That's
this is the thing. You don't think. You always think something's kind of permanent and immovable. And I should make this clear. Like, my move over to YouTube's been nothing but positive. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect or forever that way.
No, it's still YouTube. YouTube has plenty of their own gas.
It's still Alphabet. Alphabet's a gigantic public company, and
and now they do evil. So take that for what it's worth.
And that's a company who's made all sorts of weird cancellations over the years that no one saw coming. I'm not saying YouTube's going to get canceled, but just got to be realistic about the world you live in, and just know, don't put all your eggs in one basket either. That's helpful. Just try to diversify if you're a creator. And best of luck to everybody who's trying to do this shit on Twitch, because it seems weird right now. All right. Well, that went long. Let's talk about
just quick news.
Real quick here. Whoopi Goldberg is mad that Diablo 4 isn't on Mac. I have good news for her. This made all kinds of news and more free promo for the game.
I mean, it's just interesting. I would not have expected Diablo to be high on Whoopi Goldberg.
Is she going to talk about it on The View?
Yeah, she's a gamer, dude. She loves this shit. So is
she going to talk about it on The View? Like,
I thought she did.
What's this Diablo I'm hearing? It's the first time hearing about it. Well, Diablo's a game where you slay demons.
I thought she brought it up there. Do I have that wrong? Maybe she just did it online. I thought it was on her show.
Yeah, I think it was online, but why wouldn't she talk about it on TV?
Maybe she will. But the point is, she can actually do it now if she was a developer. This week at WWDC, the Worldwide Developers Conference for Apple, they very quietly, without any fanfare, released a translation layer, a lot like Proton, speaking of Valve, which makes Steam Deck work and is a great way to make make Windows games work on Linux and that sort of thing. They released a tool to devs only, though, and it's not just to everybody in the public, that lets you literally play Diablo 4 on your Mac and do it flawlessly. People are playing that. Cyberpunk. They've tested a whole bunch of stuff. It's all working.
It's like an emulation layer to emulate Windows.
Yeah, it's like Proton. It's the same thing, except it's their brand of it, and they have
fuck it, Apple. There you go.
Yeah, and the silicon, the Apple Silicon chips are very capable. And it turns out more than people thought, because these games look freaking great with this translation layer. What I hope Apple does, because this is devs only right now. I want them.
They're gonna kibosh it. Yeah.
I want them to make this a thing in general, and they may. I don't know why it would hurt them not to. Right now, it's like a tool for devs to port their stuff over to ARM-based Silicon Macs. But if it works as a good translation layer, freaking why not, man?
I mean, what an embarrassment, though, that other people can do that for you and you don't do it for yourself, for your customers.
I mean, it is their tool. They made it, but they just aren't giving it.
They did make. Okay, sorry, I thought someone else made it.
No. This is the 40% rule, and it's totally fine.
Yeah, 40% rule in my Diablo brain. Dude, I get it. I can relate to the 40%.
It's all good. And we don't need to talk about it long, but Apple finally showed off what they've been working on with AR. It's not for gamers anyway, so the gamers don't need to worry about it too much. It's not for you.
I have things to say.
Say what you're going to say. I mean, it isn't for us. So let's make this clear, though. This is not meant to be a gamer device. They don't position it that way. They don't want people to think of it that way.
Why are you defending it?
I'm not defending it. I think it's an overpriced piece of hardware.
I'm fine. I'm fine with that. That's okay. Don't make it a gamer device. But you have to admit, there's nothing exciting. Even forget the price point. The future is now. It's VR. You can see your eyes through the headset. And here's what you can do in VR. You can read the LA Times. You can check your email and, do a FaceTime call. Dude. I mean, it was the lamest presentation. They beat Meta. Zuckerberg won.
No, hold on. Back up that truck, because this isn't, again, It's not for us at $3,500. That's the other thing. This is a early dev unit. This is about a future, not a present. This is not like no customers are expected to rush out and buy this thing, and they know that. That's why the original Mac was $7,000 if you adjust for inflation. That's why their first iPhone was almost $1,000 if you adjust for inflation.
But I said setting aside price, like forget the price. It's not an exciting product.
So hold on, this is where I disagree. The virtual screen stuff is and hand gesture stuff way beyond what the
tech
Quest
is
can
good.
do.
I'm not talking about the tech.
That's what I'm talking about.
I think as a piece of technology, it's going to be impressive. Sorry, I should have maybe prefaced what I was saying. I'm just saying the presentation was ass. Like it's probably one of the worst presentations. Mark, I hated Meta's presentation, and it was more exciting than what they showed, in my opinion.
Oof,
like
I don't
check
know
your
if I
emails,
agree with that. Yeah.
Play PlayStation 5 on a big flat screen. Like, I'm like, come on, man. Like, it was, I didn't care for the presentation at all. I'm sure the hardware, it didn't reflect how good the hardware is, but I thought the presentation sucked.
Well, from the hands-on reports from people who actually got to use it, all of them are like, this thing's really impressive, and no one's going to buy it, and Apple doesn't care, because this is how they do it. They come out with something that's ridiculous and out of reach, that pushes the envelope in some direction they think is the future, and then it either sticks or it doesn't. Like, it's just a non-issue for gamers. It was never meant for us.
I mean, do they ever do that and then it fails and they don't pursue it further?
Sure. Apple Newton, although that was between jobs.
I've seen people say Newton too. I don't know what Newton is, but
the Newton was a nightmare. His Cube, or his Power PC 4 Cube thing was a big bomb. But then there's things like, the original Apple TV was thought to be just a joke. Like, what is even that thing? What is that? We're not using that. And now that's a very popular set-top box that's evolved over time, gotten cheaper. Like, they do this every time. And everyone's always surprised by the way they do it. And even me, I'm like, I saw that price and went, oh, right, we're doing this shit again. Okay, forget it. Like, I don't even need to think about this right now.
Yeah.
I could buy 3 new Mac Mini Studios or whatever, or the Mac Studio computers, which are awesome production devices. I can get 3 of those for the price of this thing.
Yeah, no, the price is like, and not like, there's no buying it. Like, it's not even, it's like they might as well not have announced it.
No, it's
like,
for devs and a few rich people.
For me, like, yeah.
And it's still a year out, like next January or something.
And like, what dev is going to want to develop for it? No, it's going to be no one to buy shit. So it's just Apple, I guess, developing for it for the most part.
Well, there will be dev units, and there will be, their goal is to get like an app store for this kind of computing. Okay. And then the long tail on that is what they care about. They're multi-trillion-dollar company. They don't care about tomorrow.
Yeah,
they care about.
Can I ask you a question that I think is more than fair, Scott?
Go.
You've really beat this is not for gamers drum.
Yeah.
Why then every time did I go to Bo's Twitch stream did I get an advertisement for it?
So this is interesting. When you are a company that big and have so much money that it literally falls out of your pants as you walk, you just put it everywhere. Those ads are on Twitter. Those ads are on TikTok. Those ads are on Twitch. They're on every platform that has eyeballs.
Yeah, that does make sense.
But you can't claim that it has no business in that medium if they're advertising to it. Like you
No,
guys shouldn't
you
even
can.
care about it. Why are you even looking
No,
at it?
no,
It doesn't
you
apply
can.
if they're showing it.
No,
to
no,
you.
no, no. It doesn't matter. They're not. Well, that's you saying that gamers only care about gaming. Gamers have lives and other stuff and other interests, and so I'm not saying that's going to make them run out and buy it. It's all about mind share. So when they go and they put this plastered on everything from you're going to see this stuff on like billboards. You're going to see it in every ad possible. You're going to see every possible place where eyeballs are. They're going to show it because Apple has infinite marketing money and it doesn't matter to them. So whether it's Twitch, whether it's YouTube, whether it's TikTok, whether it's anywhere where people's eyes are, that's all they care about. And so they don't care that it's gamers seeing it. They care that eyeballs are seeing it. And they've always been this way with their big major pushes. Whenever there's a new platform, the iPad went through a very similar cycle. The original iPhone in 07, same kind of cycle. Big giant Mac changes, the silicon change. These just get huge amounts of like, let's put it everywhere. And I remember people back then claiming or complaining that why are these new silicon Mac Mini showing up on a Twitch stream? Because they don't care. They just want eyeballs. And the market share they're looking for is different than everybody else's. You know,
they want everyone to know it exists. Basically.
Yeah, Ben Q wants everyone to buy a monitor right now. They see it and go, "Ooh, I need a 27-inch monitor. I'll buy it right now." This is is them going, "Hey, here's a thing you probably don't care about, but here it is." And
a lot of monitor ads during this.
There really are, aren't there? Yeah. Feel like that's half the Twitch stuff anyway that I see when I see ads over there. But anyway, it's just a big nightmare. And the thing about it is the worst part about it is there are a ton of things about it that are technically impressive under the hood in particular, but there are some really weird assumptions about humans with it. Like those eyes are weird. I don't want that.
I thought I heard it's not a pass through. It's like a screen.
It's a screen.
It's showing you an animated version
of you. Yeah. So when you do that initial scan,
yeah, there's some uncanny valley.
Big time, dude. It's really freaking weird. And also,
I've seen the future, and the future is weird and dumb.
So if it's a projection, couldn't you mod it like to look like a thrall, or like just in the eyes part? Or
in theory, yeah.
What happens when it glitches and
that
your eyeballs
would be less unsettling than what
Here's also what I think. They called this out of the gate. They called it the Vision Pro. They normally don't add Pro to anything until it's the expensive higher end Pro model. By doing that, this gives them room later to say, introducing the Vision Lite, and it will be this really light thing that will give you the same quality pass-through, HDR, clarity, blah, 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 for people to just plug into their Macs or plug into their PCs or plug into their devices and have these like big screen pass-through things where it's like you've got a giant set of screens and things in your room or whatever, and you'll use them like that and less like a full all by itself standalone device. Like, I don't know that for sure, but that's just kind of what they do. And that thing will be $600 or that'll be $800 or whatever, and then they'll
can't wait to get pink eye at the Apple Store trying it.
I mean, I do want to demo one, but it's going to be a while before they're going to do anything with it. Because I just want to see how it feels and looks. Because if there's any complaint I have about the current Quest, maybe the Quest 3 improves on this, but the pass-through stuff looks like shit. It looks like garbage. So if you want to improve that, great. Also, the hand gesture stuff's still pretty bad on Quest. It's not horrible, but it's not great.
I mean, I don't use it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, the Quest is the best gamer helmet there is for the price.
Yeah.
But I don't think Apple gives two shits about that market. That's not what they're.
Well, that's what I mean. Like that's why it's weird. The strategies, I guess, are different, right? Quest 3 is doing loss leader. They're not making profit that much on the headset.
No, a little more than they were though, I guess, because what, $299 for the last one, then they upped the price, and now it's what?
I mean, if
$600.
the average price is minimum 1,000, it seems, or 900. So going in at it was like 400 Canadian to 500. I think.
Yeah.
I think they're like, lot losing on that. But the Oculus store is robust. I have lots of complaints and things can be better, but they're at least like there's new stuff in there. There's new games every week.
No, I like my Quest a lot. I mean, and obviously there's a very AR focus on this Apple thing and a much more VR focus on the Quest side. So it's almost like a difference in philosophy about where the future is, or maybe mixed reality is just harder to do than we think, so that those two things can coexist really well. I don't know, but apparently it's very impressive.
I would have, I was a little ticked off about all the flat screen stuff they were bragging about.
Yeah.
Like zoom in on a movie and it's high quality. I'm like, yeah, big screen's been around for like 7 or 8 years. Like,
Yeah, but you got it in there on your own. You got spatial. What's that called? The audio they're using is actually pretty impressive. The other thing was you get HDR in there, and you're the only one in there. You could be looking at 4K porn, Bo, and just sitting back. And you know what? People be looking right into your creepy eyes while you're looking at the porn.
well, no,
Like
it's not
this.
4K. No, so that's not good. It's good, but like what you want is VR 180 video, and people have abandoned that right now. But there's like a huge there's like enthusiasts. Like I went the other day. I was in Ukraine, walking around like taken a few weeks ago, like war-torn Ukraine, where someone was just taking the VR. It's like $5,000 minimum to buy a camera like this, but they're taking their VR 180 video and showing the blown up tanks that they've blown up and stuff, and
Yeah.
like all the Soviet stuff they've recovered. You know, it's just like it's cool. I'm like, and seeing it in 3D and seeing the people that are there and getting a vibe. There's like lots of I like VR 180 video, and they, to their credit, they talked a little bit about 3D photos, and I'm like, if the headset is VR is high quality, if it's like 8K, can record video and take photos in VR 180, then I'm stoked. And then 3500 makes sense because the minimum price to buy the DSLR and all that shit required to get VR video, as far as I can tell, is 5,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I really want to do VR video, but I'm like, I don't have 5,000 lying around for cameras
Well,
on a mode that everyone's like abandoning. And I'm like, this is the best part. And the porn, that's where you talk about porn industry on the VR front is all 180 video.
Right.
And they have like the best quality shit. That's why I get interested in it. Not for the porn, but I'm like, you want to see the best quality video.
Yeah.
Look to porn. Porn's always
porn.
the one innovating on this kind of stuff before anyone else does it. And they're the ones with the high-end VR 180 cameras. And I'm like, you can make movies with this. There's just so much actual cool shit you can make with those. So if the Apple headset has that, I wish they showed it off more, because that's the exciting thing. I think VR 180 video is even more than games to me. I watched a concert from a band I never heard of, The Warning, on the Oculus TV app. It was great. It was awesome. Like some of the concerts, poor quality of their shit, that had high quality. And that was fun, and they were a good band, a good little like punk band. 3 women, electric guitar, bass, and drums.
What are they called? The Warning? I haven't heard of them.
I think it's called The Warning. I never heard of them either, and I actually didn't even research them outside of my headset. But it's like pretty decent quality. It's like maybe a small club, and they're up on stage. There's no crowd. I really like it when they do that kind of stuff more with crowds, but whatever, it's fine. The performance is good. And I watched a concert in my VR headset, and I'm like, I'd never watched them on TV, but like it was kind of captivating in 180. I guess people watching's a thing. I guess
Sure.
so. In VR 180, people watching is a thing, but you don't have to worry about them seeing you stare at them.
Right. No, that's
And
true. That's true.
And like on flat screen, when you just have a camera, something, you're like, I'm bored, but that's because it's flat. When it's 180. It does something to your monkey, dinosaur, lizard brain or whatever. Like your primal brain just, I find for me anyways, it processes it a little different. Yeah. And I get just interested in people watching. Anyways.
But
sorry, we brought up VR. My bad. Sorry, John.
No. It's via, virtual head.
No, I put it in the notes. I knew what I was doing when I put it in
You
there.
knew what you were asking for.
No, you're trying to ruin my race. Look at me. I stopped playing for 10 minutes. What am I going to
do? Sabotage.
That's amazing. All right. Well, we're going to jump straight to our mashup, and I've got good news for everybody. I think the crowd voted correctly. I think I said this. So according to Jamie, the term is GRR muffin, which isn't all different than both.
There was another episode where we mispronounced
I guess so.
Martin's
yeah.
name?
And today it made me think, well, maybe that was Bo after all, but I still think this may have been me.
I think it's either I voted for me. I think that there's a chance that Scott said it. I have a vague recollection of one time Scott making a joke and me laughing because I was about to make the exact same joke.
Yeah.
And I think this might have been it. This does sound like a me joke.
A little bit. Yeah. So we've got a 51% me, 27% John, 22% Bo is the current layout of votes. Let's find out how this ends with today's mashup. Here you go. Not for John. He'd probably whip it out in 2 seconds and have no problem saying.
He was whipping it out on Twitter today. I saw him.
He was.
Yep, that's all I do. Oh, it's so good to have you inside me.
This came to us from a patron. By the way, his name is G Peanuts. G-E-E, Peanuts. Anyway.
G Peanuts?
Yeah, G Peanuts.
Peanuts.
Like he's excited about peanuts in a
Can't
very
wait to watch
1950s
G
way.
Peanuts is afraid.
Yeah, G Peanut. I almost said G Penis. Anyway.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. That's why I picked the name.
Although, shout out to John Pryor, CEO and founder of Doghouse Systems, who right around the time we gave away the machine ended up with some horrible butt flu and has been sick since. But he's fine now. He's good today. I don't know why I'm telling this. Why am I telling people this?
Wow.
Oh, it's starting to sound like a rapper too. It's like, yo, I'm G Penis, or I'm G Peanuts.
Gotcha. Only took 3 times
Jamie.
to get you.
Jamie alert.
The eating isn't bad.
It could be the quietest food in the world, and he's still gonna be like, "Let me tell you something. It's just like, let me tell you about VR. Jesus wept."
Why are you doing Norm Macdonald doing what's his name on SNL, the fake Jeopardy? Yeah, yeah.
Third Ferguson.
what I-
Funny, it's my name.
Who says that? Is that the twin mommies?
No, it's the machine.
That's the vending machine that you have sex with.
Oh, you do have sex with the vending machine?
She tries. She tries to pull you inside her.
I mean, I'm okay with the horny fridge. I mean,
Hold on, I got to mark where that was. Hold on.
Yep, make sure that gets in the show.
I'm okay with a
somehow.
horny fridge.
I just spent 22 hours on the boobs, and I spent 3 minutes on the face, and then got a hot picture chick.
If you don't post this, I'm gonna kill you slowly.
Mom, don't come in here. I'm doing my art.
How come there was a screen where the girl like front farted an apple and then she ate it?
You got to keep an apple somewhere. Where are you going to keep an apple?
I don't know. I didn't think about it. If you don't have room in your fancy bunny clothes, where else are you gonna put it? In your front butt. That's where you put it. Could I be Randy in a chorecore game and like have a giant belly out in front of me and go out
yeah, you look there. You're like,
Cheeseburger.
there's your belly.
Yeah.
You got to get a cheeseburger.
Okay, that's how I sustain
You
myself.
got to get a cheeseburger, and you don't have a lot of money. So, what do they call it in that show? Like Horin or Turn and Trick?
Oh, I don't want to do that version of Randy. I want to clean sprinkler heads and shit. I don't want to
You
go
gotta
to
suck
town.
off dudes in a pickup truck to get $15 for cheeseburgers. I guess the thing that I'm thinking of the most right now is like maybe the fiction that K-pop stars are like single, so they can't ever be caught in a romantic relationship with anybody.
Right.
So I'm just like, yeah, it looks like he's been caught masturbating.
I know. It's
Yeah.
so good.
Like that's the face I make when I masturbate. Oh, I gotta go. I hurt myself.
Bo left.
He
Bo
left.
left the show because he made a joke that he
made a
found
joke.
so funny.
That's how I do that kick-ass girl, Clarette's Moretz Pertice, or whatever her name is. What is it?
Wow.
Not
Clarette's
Chloe Moretz. Clarette's. What is it? Chloe. Oh, there it is. It's Chloe Grace Moretz. That's it. I like this butthole.
Sorry.
Oh, you're
we're
totally
leaving
fine.
again? Okay.
Yeah, it's break time
We
anyway.
figured
hurt
you'd
my-
already left. You just
I
got up
hurt
and left.
myself laughing.
I feel you. Don't blow a gasket or whatever it is.
All right, I gotta go. I'll go jacket.
Yeah, go. Oh, jeez.
No, we're getting a Game of Thrones novel first.
Yeah, woo! At least that's something. That's the
Way to
positive
go,
takeaway.
J.R.R. Martin.
Good
J.R.R.
news.
Martin.
Oh, J.R. Martin. I don't think that's his
J.R.R.
name.
Martin.
J.R.R. What's the 2 R? What's the second R for? Yeah, who knows?
G.R.R. Isn't it?
George R.R. Martin.
J.R.R. Tolkien. G.R.R. Muffin. I forgot what's his last name. I don't remember. Martin. Oh shit! Look, my guy's bugged. Muffin.
Oh, that's great. Everybody got it wrong. Oh my gosh, that's funny because we
Look
did
at my
that.
guy. Look at my guy. He's bugged. Ah.
Wait, he's bugged. What's going on? Oh shit! Hold on.
He's look. I got bugged. I'm swimming. Wait
Wait a minute. Is he getting? Can you fight? Can you fight?
No, I can't press. I can press my shouts, but I can't do any moves. I can take damage.
Get out of there, dude.
Well, get out of there, man.
He's gonna
You
die
are
like
tempting
this.
fate in a bad way.
You're gonna die. You're gonna die. Get it? Why is
It's
it
the
that
new way.
song? Why is that song that you sang? Why is it that song?
It's just I don't know. Isn't
You're
that the
gonna
song you
die.
sing when- okay, maybe it's getting bad. I'm
It's maybe. That was terrible. How'd you do that? Was that a what? What's
I got
this?
knocked down, and then I think I got stuck in the animation.
He's
All right,
still
back to
stuck.
normal.
No, okay.
Not dead.
Oh, that could. If you'd have died there, that would have been.
Yeah, I know. Well, I
Bad
thought
way.
I
But a
thought I
good
was
way.
going to die.
Yeah, that's
I
wild.
took a death elixir. Scrolls of Escape are your friend in hardcore as well. That's why Sean Nobi died. I'm like, I'm out, and I escaped. Like, just
How do you
I
make
went down,
those?
I'm like, oh.
Do you make those? Do they drop? Do you buy them? What happens with those?
They drop, and you can make them.
Okay. So they're
don't neglect
craftable.
your potion master if you play endgame. I think you don't need it that much.
I don't need it yet, but it's good to know because I haven't touched any of those people yet.
I have 46 potion recipes.
Oh my lord!
A lot of it's poison resistant, things like that. But
well, they went all in on that stuff this time.
But
How do you guys feel about the new darkness mechanic where everything gets real dark around you?
Oh, it's cool. I like that.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
It's stressful. It's stressful. It's a stressful way to do something that isn't just now it's shadow damage. Now it's fire damage. Like it's actual. It's or a stun or the stun's roots. But I like the darkness reduction. It's interesting.
Oh,
I like that it tells you something's happening. There's a couple effects that happen in D4 that are. I'm not sure what's happening. Like Revenants really were a bane for me for a while because they do that impale move where they drain your health and you're just stuck there for a while. And you can't figure out why none of your moves are working if you don't see the impale, which obviously you got hit by it. You didn't see it.
Right.
And so those were a real problem for a while because there's no flashy animation that goes, oh, you were impaled by a sword.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't actually know. Plus it's such chaos. How do you can't tell in the moment what's going on.
Wait, I asked Bo, or I mentioned this to Bo. Who's your worst enemy, your least favorite enemy to deal with?
Yeah, I got a list actually. So Revenants were really bad for a while. Playing on hardcore, they have a long stun. If they get one on you, other people will hit you. Fortunately, the build I have has 2 CC breaks in it, and I'm also unstoppable for seconds after I press it. So I have tons of unstoppable uptime now. And the other thing I was eventually spec'd into is the yellow gems on your armor give you 10% damage reduction while controller paired. So if I get controller paired, I get an additional 50% damage reduction. I take virtually little damage.
Okay.
If they do it. But I mean, I had to eventually get to that. I still freak out when I get control impaired because it's happened where you get control impaired and you die.
Yeah, it's
so Revenants are bad. But I've gotten I found my way to trivialize their mechanics. The ones I hate the most are I call them boogermen, the green ghosts, and then the red boogermen, the red versions of those ghosts.
Yeah.
And the reason is they're invisible and they walk away when you try to run at them, and as a barbarian it's annoying. And they seem to only have archers and wraiths that just shoot you from range constantly, and the red ones have a few lightning attacks that I think are overtuned. Like I'd be like fighting everything, not taking a lot of damage, build is strong, and I get hit with that stupid floor laser and I'm at 20% health. And I'm like,
I call it the bacon, and I always get hit by the bacon because there's always that like big spooky ghost that does a thing, and then one of the archers puts the bacon on the ground, and then I always get hit by the bacon.
You don't want to get hit by the bacon.
Pushes you back and knocks you away. I don't like I basically anything that's really good at staying away from you. So I was complaining about succubus enemies to Bo. I think maybe my new least favorite though is the Medusa snakes. The ones that throw a little eye out, and then you have like half a second to dodge the eye. It just like looks at you, and you're like, oh no! And like I have found that even anticipating it and being ready for it, I'm still usually in an animation and can't dodge it. Those are
I agree completely with that.
The worst. They avoid you like succubi. And but they also have a stun on them, and it's just all bad. And they're usually surrounded by other things that are poisonous, which poison damage can be real brutal too. So
agree wholeheartedly.
I think that's
that,
my least favorite.
Yeah. Well, Diablo.
What about you, Scott?
I mean, I don't know if I'm far enough to have a hated one. Probably. I'm trying to think if I've even seen these booger men. I probably have at this stage. Oh, no, I know I have. I know I have. I guess they didn't bother me that much.
Green ghosts. Like on World Tier, that's more of an end game issue, I find, than early game. Early game,
the ghost type enemies, the red ghosts, but then there's one that's got like its arms up, like multiple arms, and they just kind of seem to teleport around. That's what Bo's talking about.
Oh, okay. I know what you mean. They are annoying. Yeah, I don't like those. Trying to think if there's anything else I've seen. Not really.
There's also a priest type of enemy that I don't like, but I haven't been able to figure out why I don't like it. It's just when they show up.
Are the ones that also teleport? They don't teleport, do they?
I think they do like a blind effect, and then you can't see them for a second, and then they're in a new spot.
I think that's it. I don't like those guys.
Yeah.
I don't like them.
And for some reason, they're always wrecking me when they're out.
Yeah,
too.
they're buttholes.
I haven't nailed down why they're a problem, but they're a problem whenever they're around.
Total complete buttholes, those guys. They study at the holy book of the butthole. That's what they do.
The Butthole Academy.
Yeah, Butthole Academy. Huge thanks, by the way, to Jamie. We got away from the mashup.
Yeah,
a little
dude,
bit, but that was
welcome
great.
back. By topic form, I don't remember saying any of that stuff. I can't even remember.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Tricked a lot of people with that one.
Yeah.
And we were worried. Scott was worried. Like, is this going to out anyone if we tell them you visited the site OnlyFans? I'm like, there I was just telling people what I look like when I masturbate on the show. I'm pretty sure that bar has been lowered.
Well, the fact that we had two J.R. Martin type things happen, one today and then
what's
in this
his proper
ancient
name?
episode.
George R.R. Martin?
George R.R.
Yes.
Martin and then J.R.R. Tolkien is what you were thinking, or Tolkien.
It's 2 R's, right? Or
Yes.
is it 1?
2 R's.
Okay.
George R.
George
R.R. Martin.
Off.
Right? George R.R. Martin?
It's not just George
R.R. Martin.
There's 2 R's. Yeah. Okay.
There are.
Yeah, there you go. One of the R's is busy.
Funny because
Right?
R.R.
Now wait, I was so certain, and then I thought
Martin?
about it more, and I was like, well, hold on now.
George R.R. Martin. Yeah, 2
Okay,
R's.
good.
Is it? Right? Oh, yeah,
Got
2
it.
R's. I double
Yes.
checked. Okay, we're good.
I think the problem with his R is his last name is Martin, so it's R.R. Mar. Like it's 3 R syllables, but one with an M. You know, R.R. Martin?
Yeah.
Why did he do that?
George R. I don't know why. Maybe those. Let's see if they stand for something. I can tell you. Oh, it does. George Raymond Richard Martin.
Just imagine if he had gone by the name George Martin. You know?
I wouldn't have been a
Game of
writer.
Thrones, written by George Martin. You'd be like, George R. Martin makes it seem like he came down from the mountain with the tablets and was like, I got a book for you.
Yeah. It's
Oh, I like that book there, that Game of Thrones by George Martin.
Yeah, George Martin.
But that's his name. Like how we say, Scott Johnson, Bo Schwartz, Don Jagger, Kyle Ferguson, Garrett Weinzierl.
Yeah, they probably they probably call him George at home, or just George. Yeah, just George. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, so George Martin down the way there. He writes them books.
He's out there mowing his lawn. That George Martin.
Writes them books.
How does that George there make his money? He lives in a nice house like that.
He
writes some books.
Fancy, expensive books. Speaking of books, this is not a good transition. I'll just tell you guys. Patreon.com/core show is how we get supported. And listen to this. Mojo Jojo, Jackson Schwartz. I don't know if that's related to you at all, but Jackson Schwartz, Kelly Snow, Harold B., and Patrick Irie. It's old Patrick Irie. They've all signed up to our Patreon in the last week, and we love having them here. Patreon.com/core show is where you go. You'll never get ads or commercials. You'll get pre-show content and post-show content every week. You'll get monthly benefits. John just put up his cool episode. Go check that out. I really liked it. I listened to the whole thing. It was very good.
Yeah.
I won't spoil anything, but John has thoughts on a thing we've talked a lot about today. So go check it for more. And that's the only way you can do it. All these benefits. Art in the mail. Did I mention that? Well, if I didn't, there is. Patreon.com/core show is where you want to go. Probably some Diablo art this year, or this month, if I had to guess, because I'm in the mood. This year sometime.
You'll probably do some Diablo art this year.
Yeah, I'm in the mood. I'm enjoying it so much, I think I might. Also, don't leave everyone just yet in the chat, because one of you is going to win a code for Warhammer 40K Chaos Gate Demon Hunters, which is kind of that 40 or the XCOM-ish 40K game, which is very good. I have this game. I love it. And Harold Burke, one of our listeners, would like someone to have an extra copy, and he has a code for you. So if you have Steam and you want to win a code, stick around in the chat. We'll give it to you right after we're done here. Frogpants.com/core for everything else you're looking for. And you want to email us, talktothecore@gmail.com. You want to text us, 801-471-0462. And you can also use that for voicemails. That's going to do it for us. For me, for John, for Bo. You know what? Bo, John, Grandma, shit! You have to tell us what we played, Grandma.
Get down here.
I damn near fell asleep. You boys have been at the wheel too long. Oh my God, how did the show with so few games played go for so long? They played Diablo 4. You probably actually remember that because they wouldn't shut up about it. John played WWE 2K23, did that last week.
Yeah.
Scott played Hollow Knight. God only knows why. And he played Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Real timely. They're not doing shit, but the show was twice as long. The hell is going on with this program?
Diablo week, Grandma.
Yeah, it's Diablo week. What do you expect? All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. And so, not to repeat myself, for me, for John, and for Bo, we'll see you guys next time. See you next week.
If you like what you just heard, there's a very good chance you will like all the shows on the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Nicely done.